Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Scariest Hour. Friends of the Paranormal, the only podcast where it is okay when you're exploring an abandoned building alone to open the door and say, "Who's there?"
And you may or may not get an answer. The answer may or may not be the thing you want to hear. You know? Somebody might just be like pleasantly, "Yes."
Like a butler from an old-timey vaudeville.
I'm here. Nobody here but us chickens. That's an old, joke for y'all.
Well, we're back here again. We covered our topic, as I said last time, urban exploration.
Urban exploration. This is a weird one.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Mostly
Not a bad
because
one
it
necessarily.
has a lot of... I would say it has a lot of fun non-horror stuff we can talk about, but it also has...
It has a lot of fucking nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, 100%.
Garbage. It has a lot of
I think
garbage.
it has a lot. There's a couple...
It has a lot. I'm not contrary to that point at all.
But as far as
it has a lot.
Films, I will agree. It's a lot of the same.
Because as far as a horror thing goes, like there are some, and there's a gabillion of them on YouTube. I watched at least probably about 2/3 of a gabillion. And as far as the horror stuff goes, it's like so fucking set up. It's so clear that it's whether it's ghosts or people living in there or like there's a psycho killer in this warehouse, dude. You better watch out.
It's the Macho Man.
It's the Macho Man, the ghost of the Macho Man. Yeah. Yeah, could you imagine? You open a door, it's like, anybody in here? Yeah.
You know what's funny? I posted side tangent.
Yeah.
I was in a real WWE kick and WCW thing the other night, and I got real roped into the rabbit hole of Hulk Hogan's subplot where he started having PTSD visions of the Ultimate Warrior.
I didn't watch it, but I saw you put it on there.
It's so good. He's like looking in this mirror, and it's a two-way. It's like a interrogation room, and it's just the Ultimate Warrior standing there, and he's like, "Do you see him?" And the guy's like, "What are you talking about, Hogan?" He's here, and he starts laughing. He's like, "You laughing at me? You come back to haunt me?" And I'm like, "Yo,
oh my
Hollywood
God.
Hogan, what's going on?"
Fucking Ultimate Warrior, man. I miss the Ultimate Maniacs. I mean, I don't know anything about them, but that's one of those things where the idea is so much fun in their wardrobes, and that's like peak Slim Jim era Macho Man Savage,
Right.
where he's like cowboy hats and big ass fucking glasses
Tassels.
and coats and tassels on his coat. Ay.
But
Yeah. Anyway.
tangent over. We that's the fun before we get into the homework.
Yeah. Right.
So, urban exploration is not as upfront, I would say, scary or as interesting in a obvious way as the
No.
other topics, but it's
No.
something I'm a big fan of.
I would say I've been into it before.
Sure.
This lane of things, and it is mostly like a hobby that can get creepy sometimes. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you said, it's not overtly horror right away, but sometimes you go into creepy spots.
Yeah, abandoned locations on their own are
Creepy as fuck.
yeah, like they feel off because it's like this, it's like you're in the skeleton of a house. Like, you're just like,
There was some stuff I seen, pretty good edits where I keep forgetting the guy's name where I get this stuff. I'll start sourcing it so you guys can check out what I'm watching. I just forget.
Yeah, last night I out loud said, I need to get the names and stuff so I can cite what I was watching.
Yeah, same.
And then I woke up today and was like, nah, I got 2 kids. I ain't.
I'm
getting
so
it.
bad at it.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at it. Because usually I am laying with a napping baby next to me, and I'm just trying to research as quietly as possible so he doesn't wake up and punch me in the head.
It's our charm.
With a punch that I thought of. I taught him that.
Uh-huh.
Because I'll not have my baby not punching other babies. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, you got the baby puncher?
Dude, if we're doing Fight Club,
Baby Fight Club.
mine wins. I'm kidding. I don't teach my son that. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Some things you don't have to teach. It's just genetics, dude. Coming at you. Violence.
Oh, man.
But yeah, anyway, so I saw these edits that were actually pretty good of a guy who just does some urban exploration and just narrates, I guess, just Reddit stories. Probably Reddit. Reddit or 4chan, because usually 4chan is like the X threads where it's like you're going to run into skinwalkers and stuff. You know what I mean? But this guy was just doing probably just Reddit stories and narrating them while it was over edited footage of him just like wandering around.
Right.
still. I was like, this is a good way to do it because you still get the vibe, but it's not like that obvious. My buddy is over there in a fucking shitty mask, and I scream and run away.
There's a lot of those.
It's so annoying because now it's in my feed. Now they're gonna think I want to see that because of this fucking research I had to do.
Welcome to my life, man.
I don't want to be here.
My feed doesn't know what to do because it's like I'll be scrolling and it'll just be like top 5 paranormal events in abandoned asylums.
I'll tell you what.
Stone Cold Steve Austin beats up Vince McMahon. Like, it's like, and then it'll be like, Donald Trump said what? And I'm just like, I'm making the algorithm work for me is what I'm doing.
Sure, yeah. I had a bad WWE algorithm experience. I got fucking hammered one night, and I watched probably a good 8 to 10 minutes, maybe 12 of Macho Man promos.
That's it.
I didn't watch any matches, nothing. I just wanted to hear him go like, he just brings out a garbage can and was like, "You're garbage. You're trash. You belong in here." You're like the cream of the crop video where he just clearly grabbed a little thing of coffee creamer and was like, "I'm the cream of the crop." It's very famous. He's like on cocaine and steroids. It's fucking amazing.
It's Reagan era.
But yeah, but the YouTube algorithm thought I gave a fuck about WWE after that, and I was like, no, I just was drunk and watched Macho Man. What's the big... How do we get back on this? God damn it.
You can't escape from the WWE.
You can't escape it.
So, urban exploration is rad. I love the idea of abandoned buildings.
Fun.
There's a lot of great locations in the world that, like, there's a couple I'm going to bring up when we do, like, the real ones.
Okay.
Like the research, but there's some really cool places and not even scary places. I specifically tried to find ones that weren't inherently scary.
Okay.
Because you get a lot of, what is that?
Yeah.
Kind of videos, and I'm
shaky,
like,
flashlights going in the wrong places clearly, and
personally my favorite ones were the ones where they don't notice scary stuff. But like the video itself is like, if you notice right here, clearly somebody is
those are the best ones. They get fake sometimes, I noticed,
100%.
because they're like, there was some I seen where there was like a little face pops up from a sewer grate, and he's like, he didn't even notice until he watched the video later. It's like, really? Because it's pointed right at it, and the video was only that.
Yeah, it's right there.
So shut your mouth about it, please.
Oh, man.
That'd be great.
So I'll say this. Do you have any experience exploring urban?
I think, I guess kinda. I've never like set out to be like, let's go explore this place.
Right.
But sometimes, you'll be just dicking around, especially being younger when you're just kind of out fending for yourself.
Sure.
In the urban wilds.
For entertainment.
Yeah, for nothing. Because your mom boots you out of the house. And just being like, just see what's around here. But as far as like something that's abandoned, I've been in places in off hours that kind of have an abandoned thing going on, like a warehouse or some such like that, but never anywhere that hasn't been touched by humans for any given length of time that's substantial.
Right. I have a couple. I mean, we the group has the famous, like, we have a meme in the group of the Spook House, which is just this old building. It's off El Jobin. Like, there's this little road you can follow.
Yeah.
That leads to just a couple buildings that were out there that they're slowly demolishing them one by one.
Like by the pier?
Yeah, it's like down. There's a road. It's like there's a road near that leads near the pier, and there's like you can kind of take an access like a side road, and it leads up into the woods, and there's just like a bunch of houses out there.
I know the area you're talking about.
Right, and we've been out there a couple times at night messing around. It's it looks like a house that was abandoned and trashed by partygoers a lot.
Well, there was actually, now that you mention it, when I was living in Tampa, I lived in a trailer off the highway. In the swamp. We called the house the swamp.
Right.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was one of my favorite places I've ever lived. And it adjoined, the area next to the highway was just all like it was old cattle grazing land that they just kind of, like, there was still a handful of cows on there so that the guy could still write off cattle grazing land on his taxes, so he just threw a handful of cows on there. But on this like chunk of property is like we called it the Leatherface house because there is like a Leatherface house looking out there, and I've been to it a bunch of times, but I never went into it, and not for fear of Leatherface being in there, because I'll talk to him. I'll be like, "What's up?" Mr. Sawyer. It was mostly a fear of, if I open this door, this thing will collapse. It is so
Right.
dilapidated.
Right.
And there's nothing in there. It's like, even if somebody was living in there, they're not having a good time with their life. So if you stumble upon them, they're not going to be happy to see you, or they're going to think, like, yo.
Leave them to it.
Yeah, exactly. Let them be as they will, essentially.
Right. I've had one, I would say, major experience doing kind of urban exploration.
Right.
I was like, real talk, like 14, 15.
Okay.
So I was young. It was after, and forgive me, it was after a hurricane.
Sure.
I don't remember which one. I don't really.
Well, we get a lot. We're Florida
Yeah.
boys down here, you know.
It's one of those things where it blew through us. It didn't do much damage to my neighborhood, but we were visiting. My mom used to be friends with another mom who was like kind of like a welfare mom. Her kid wasn't her kid. It was some kind of like a program
Sure.
that she was taking care of, and she used to take care of like she had the main one she was like loved, and then she had a revolving door policy of secondary
Ones
ones
that she didn't
for
love.
tax write-offs, I think.
That she didn't love.
Yeah, that all, no. They would be there for like a couple months, and I'd never see them again.
All right.
But we were visiting family of hers, and they lived in a trailer park. But it was after the hurricane, and that whole park was fucking devastated.
Just, yeah.
And nobody was there.
Cool.
So we were visiting. They were down the road at like their grandmother's, but we were like, let's go fucking hang out in the ghost town that is the old trailer park.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
we spent a solid afternoon going through gutted out trailers. We explored like the sewer pipes down, like not like in the sewers, but they had one of those like storm drains.
Yeah.
We were kind
like
of
the culverts or
yeah, we were going in there. We got as far as being able to look up and be like, oh yeah, that's the parking lot, kind of like we're underneath this one
kind
block.
of get your bearings.
Yeah, but
That's
we were
cool.
like, we're not going too far because we were like, there was so much water. We were like, yeah, this is
bad.
We got to a point where we're like, we might just dunk in a like step and it's not ground.
Right.
But we explored for a good solid like afternoon, and we didn't see fucking anybody, and it was kind of rad. But
That is
we were
awesome.
picking through blown apart trailers, and we were like, oh, maybe we'll find something that we'll keep. But like it was like old books that were wet, and VCRs and DVDs of like The New Guy and shit like that.
Aw.
I remember very vividly picking up one. I can't remember which one. I think it was Road Trip. I remember picking it up and going, yo, and then going, I don't want this.
Nah.
Yeah. But there was one. There was a
This
trailer.
movie isn't garbage, I guess.
I remember very vividly though. We
I haven't
stopped
seen it in a long time. It's
because
probably
we found a trailer that was kind of intact. We're like, let's check that one out. And I remember we went to open it, and it was kind of like braced, and we had to push it in. And we opened it. All three of us are like there, like Scooby Doo style.
Nice.
And we could very clearly see like sleeping bag, piss bottles everywhere, and like food in a bowl, like old food. And we were kind of like, somebody's hanging out in this one. Let's not go in this one.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's braced, it was like,
Yeah, like
It's mainly like, well, here's the deal that I find more frightening in urban exploration is not like supernatural things. It's not hauntings or
No, it's
creatures.
people.
It's a dude living in there
Yeah,
who
yeah.
doesn't want to be found.
100%.
And if he doesn't want to be found hard enough, he's gonna fucking clap your ass. Mm-hmm. And that's this. When humans are turned into desperate animals, you got
Yeah.
no problem.
No, I think being as far as horror, that's the most reasonable thing. Is
Yes,
like running into somebody.
which makes it the scariest
100%.
because it's the most likely to happen to you.
Yeah, it's not necessarily my favorite.
No.
But at the same time, I'm like, what the fuck are you gonna run into? Like, really?
Yeah, it's gonna be a dude who is living there for a reason,
Right.
and there's plenty of urban exploration bullshit to be had where you're like, what is that they found in there? It's always some kind of fucking, well, what do they call those things? It's the rake.
The rake, yeah.
It's always-
that's the new hotness.
It's
for a
the
couple
new
years.
hotness. It's always a fucking skinny, pale, shrieking dude thing living in there, chasing you out. I mean, it can't be that fast.
No.
They always say it's really fast, but then again, we've covered this time and time again. Everything paranormal is the fastest thing you've ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
But all this fucking little pudgy kid did was turn around and run, and he didn't die, so it can't be that fast.
Yeah, he got away.
It's in, dude. This guy with the camera is in this thing's native environment. Like, it can navigate these tunnels with a great speed.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like, he lives down there.
Well, yeah, and an uncanny like familiarity with it. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you're on its turf.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was run away in knee deep water. You're gonna tell me you're outrunning that? You're fucking out of your mind, dog. You're crazy. There's no way.
Yeah, it's all when you get those videos, it's always the same where they turn and then the thing like kind of shuffles at them.
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Woo," and they run. Yeah,
It's cool. It looks great, or at least some of them.
Some of them
yeah,
do.
let's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
qualify that right away. Some of them look great.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's you don't they do that real old school horror technique where you don't show the monster.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all in shadow, and it's that way. It's real easy to have a
Right.
shitty effect that you're using.
Yeah, that's like we had that period of time where like it was like Spanish, I think, or like South American, or even you even have some like Eastern Europe kind of areas. where
Sure.
in those hoax videos.
Yeah.
where it was all build up to like a split second of it looking.
Yeah.
And you got the angel in the tree, and
Yep.
you got so many good like
That thing in the field that's eating something and just kind of goes,
yeah,
looks up like that.
Those are fucking
I
real
like
nice.
Oh,
Those are
dude,
good.
so hot.
Yeah,
So hot, dude.
And a lot of those are urban exploration. You know, exploring a graveyard, run into something.
They can't. Well, that's the thing too. Is you can fit a lot of things into this topic.
Yeah.
That
It's
you
literally anything involving exploring a long abandoned location.
Yeah, or being somewhere you're not supposed to be. Even really,
Mm-hmm.
like urban exploration is probably a polite way of saying trespassing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's only trespassing when you run into the inhabitants.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, it's
only getting caught that makes it a crime.
yeah. I'm into it though. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I
It's-
mean-
it's one of those. It's one of those like really cool topics that have a lot of cool stuff you can like dig into and speculate like
Yeah.
what could be in there. Like I love all the
It takes a little more work than your average cryptid or paranormal thing,
Sure.
though. Just because there is a bunch of people who are interested, and God love you, who are interested in just going to dilapidated structures and dicking around.
100%, yeah.
Not even looking for anything, not even trying to make a what was that spook video.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
going like, hey, what's in this old abandoned factory? Let's just go see what's
It lends itself to there's something being scary though. Just
Right.
because it's like that, you know, it's that
You're in there by yourself,
Yeah.
super silent. Who knows what
Super
or who is living in there?
I had
But
that
there
with-
could be some rad loot in there, so you gotta go look.
Yeah, I had that with when I used to work for a storage company. Like the training location had an apartment that a manager could live in.
Oh,
but
right.
It had been long since gutted, and like I went up there once, and it looked like a Blair Witch murder house. And it was also in a building that was nothing but carpet, and like
Ew.
it got way too quiet in that
It's all
building.
musty and
Yeah.
Carpet's bad because shit can sneak up on you in carpet.
That's what I was saying. It was like way too quiet, and all the sensor lights would only kick on if you were halfway into the dark hallway.
Oh, nice.
And there was lots of corners and lots of turns and hallways, and I knew that house was up there the whole time, and I'm just
Right.
like, this is
Something's living up there
I
and kicking
hate-
it down
yeah,
here.
I
Yeah.
hate it in this building. I don't want to be here. Oh man. But yeah, so we did some research. I think I have better research topics than I do movies to discuss.
Yeah, probably.
but-
I'm excited to hear what you bring to the table because I honestly I had a tough time finding anything
Right.
that was. I know there was a point in time where I was like really watching a lot of urban or urbex videos.
Urbex,
Let's
yeah.
be hip, dude.
Urbex.
Let's be hip. I was watching a lot of urbex stuff because it was, it's like spooky. It's cool, and plus I was like probably really into Fallout
Sure, yeah.
2,
yeah.
so it's not Fallout 2. I was into Fallout as well. Although Fallout 2 is apparently good. I don't know. I never played anything. I started at 3. What do you want me to do?
Didn't have a gaming PC when I was a
Nope.
child.
I would play it though. It's supposed to be good. Anyway, so I was kind of like trying to get back into that gear and find stuff, but since
You know, real
that
talk,
time has come,
is urban exploration just the modern version of a dungeon crawl?
maybe
Just with nothing cool to find.
the monsters are less interesting.
They're just crackheads.
Yeah. What if though you started doing dungeon crawls and 99% of them were just empty straight tombs?
Sure.
There's only bodies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
all
Just
just-
empty health potions.
Yeah, somebody has already been through here.
Yeah. That'd be fun
I mean,
to
I
do.
play a lot of Destiny, and a lot of that game, like, when you really think about it, you're literally just exploring old abandoned high science facilities.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
borderline a fantasy urban exploration game.
Yeah, kinda. When I was playing it too, it definitely had that vibe because when you're like on Earth and stuff, you're going
Going
through
through
the,
old, like, office buildings and
what
shit.
was the name of the spot?
Oh, the old Russia?
Yeah,
The Cosmodrome?
The Cosmodrome.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you're going through old like, office buildings
Yeah.
and flight
like
platforms.
factories and warehouses and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, good call. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so I was trying to get back into that vein of like, well, where were all these videos at? I remember being really into it, and I don't know if I've changed enough to where I don't give a fuck about it anymore, or there's been just such a deluge of this garbage that I can't find the good stuff anymore. But I was like fucking really having a hard time finding anything.
Well, the problem is like,
I found some shit, but
there's a guy that I like, or I did like. I didn't go back to him for this because he all he does is just literally explore old like Eastern European factories and shit.
Cool.
And he's had a couple. He'll live stream them too. If you find him, he's cool. I just can't remember his name off the top of my head because I'm unprofessional.
God, we're bad at this.
Dude, we're horrible.
We're horrible at this whole thing.
It's called Spirit. We're
yeah, we got heart, man.
But yeah, he's cool. He's had cool ones though, where he'll be walking and you'll hear somebody talking like off in the distance, and he'll like start walking fast and like go and shut a door and keep going. He's like, I think that's security. They probably know somebody's in here now.
Right. Okay.
Like, I'm not supposed to be in here.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of like spooky stuff. So
Yeah.
I got some spooky stuff that I want to talk about.
It's got
I got a couple cool real ones that don't have like spooky stuff.
Right. I got a couple of like that. I think at least one that I really enjoyed. I laughed pretty hard at. But yeah, it at least has whatever the content is stuffed into these things. Right. They at least have atmosphere.
100%.
I'll give them that.
Oh yeah,
they got atmosphere.
Abandoned buildings are just naturally
the best. Yeah. What's up?
I don't know. I saw you look behind me.
Oh, I'm constant. I got my head on a swivel, dog. We're outdoors again because we like the way it sounded and it's more comfy.
Yeah, it's nice.
You can let the kids sleep.
Yeah,
It's nice out here. But yeah, whenever I'm outside, I'm always like, what?
Oh yeah, of course.
Looking around for everything.
You talk about spooky stuff. We're gonna get raped.
I know, dude. I'm gonna get held down.
So
violated.
I had one that was real fun. Well, I'll say the best spooky. I'll lead with the best spooky one I had.
Are we gonna? What's the order we do? We gonna do movies or real ones?
We'll do real ones first
Oh,
because I feel like
shit.
movies are gonna be kind of light.
Garbage. Yeah, mostly trash.
But my best spooky one was real cool. It was this guy. He was exploring an abandoned apartment building.
Okay.
And he was just walking around, headlamp, camera. It might have been a GoPro. His perspective was kind of.
Probably.
I honestly think it was because I was like, I remember him having hands in frame a lot. So
Okay.
he's like walking around. You know, it's dark. He's at night, obviously.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, it's cool. He's like, all these doors are kicked in. He's like walking and talking, pointing stuff out. But then he's walking up steps and he starts hearing a dog barking and moving around up top. He's like, oh, there's an animal in here.
It's a puppy.
So he's like, okay, I gotta be on my. He says like, oh, there might be a dog up here. He's like, I wonder if people are living up here.
Right.
And he's like, if people are living up here, I'm gonna peace out. Like he says that like right off the top. But he's walking up and he sees this bag at the top of steps. He's up there and he like starts poking around in it, and there's like cans of stuff and food. But then he finds a container and he's like, is this drugs? And he opens it up, and at first I'm sitting here like, oh, is it gonna be I got caught by drug dealers? Like,
Right.
scary.
Oh sure.
Then he's looking at it, and I'm like, they're in little containers. They're tied off in little baggies, real tight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that looks fucking real. I'm like, that looks like professional as fuck.
Right.
And then he starts hearing people coming up the steps.
Like,
And he kind of like just ducks in and hides in a thing, and he just hears people like talking, and they get kind of loud, and he hears them moving around kind of like quick and moving around. I'm
intense.
watching them. Yeah, I'm watching, and then he's like, all right, I think they're down over there now. So he just leaves. Nothing happens. Some people come home while he was messing around, and he just leaves.
and he didn't get caught. Thank God.
But so I'm like, either if this is fake, I even went back and paused it on the drugs because I'm like, that looks legit as fuck. I'm
Right.
like, that looks like something you don't just do because you're faking it. It was weird. I was really
It would
impressed
be
by it.
you would go and get the little like nickel bags from Walmart and fill them with fucking flour
they're
or something.
all tied real tight, like
Yeah.
real nice, like rubber banded, like
because
3-4 times.
they're weighing that shit.
Yeah, I was like, that looks like he just found their, like, they just dropped it off and like, hey, 7-Eleven. I'm like, that's the scariest one. Because he just
Well, it makes you think too, because if them dudes found him,
dead.
that's an issue.
Yeah.
They're at least kicking his ass
Yeah.
hard, you know.
100%. But that one, I was like, this one just felt real, and the detail, I was like, that seems like such a such a real looking thing. Like
Yeah.
that looks, it didn't look like half-assed. Like, because I was like thinking, I'm like, if this is a hoax, would this guy give a shit? I had that brain. I'm like, how easy would it have been to fuck that up and just have like a Ziploc bag full of
A powder.
a powder and be like, oh, this is drugs.
Oh wow, I found drugs.
But it was in like a Ziploc, Tupperware container with like the latches, and he like turned it. He didn't open it. He just turned it to see on the bottom, and that's when you saw like the little capsules in
Right.
bags. I'm like, this just feels.
I mean, it's
and the assortment of food in there was like very like cans of beans, little sandwiches wrapped, and I'm like, this
Right.
is like effort. It felt like it felt like effort.
well, even so, even if it was faked, it was like fucking good on you, bro.
Yeah, right?
You know, because that's a really well done piece of set dressing.
Yeah,
if anything.
I was so impressed by it. I was sitting there like literally watching it like on the toilet, just like, wow, those are drugs.
Because not everything's fake, especially
Sure.
that shit is like, that stuff happens. Like,
Yeah.
people use and sell and manufacture drugs. It's definitely real.
And people squat 100%.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I was like, yeah, and the lack of a moment where he like looked and somebody went like cocked head
Yeah,
and
right.
he ran like that, not being in there, and he didn't like run out of the building. He just like quickly like
okay.
shuffled down the steps and got
Gotta
out.
get out of here.
I'm like, this is, and then there's even a bit where he's like in the woods. He just like sat in the woods and turned the headlamp off for a little while, and he just like sat quietly for a while,
Right.
and then didn't hear anything. so
Just
then
to
he
wait for it
left.
to die down and
Yeah.
make sure they didn't be like, someone was in here.
Yeah. And like I was like, yeah, you didn't hear anybody being like, there's someone. It didn't feel dramatic. It just felt like
Well, because they didn't know he was there.
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah.
want to be caught.
it
off
just
he
felt
went.
like they probably saw the door open, moved, like ran around real
And you
quick.
know what's cool? He didn't drop the dime either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, we don't know that. But it's like, don't be a snitch, bruh.
All right. Yeah.
Get out there, make that money, man. Gotta get that guap.
Get that guap. Oh, but yeah, no, that was like my favorite scary one, because so many are exactly what we were saying, like people
Yeah.
walking out and seeing something spooky. There's a couple ones I found that were really fun though, where like some kids hanging out in an old sanitarium, and then like you just see like an apparition like materialize in the back
Sure.
and start approaching them, and they're all just like filming each other hanging out, and nobody sees it.
Those are fun.
And then they just walk out, and you catch it as they're leaving the building. He turns to like look, and it's still following them. But then they just leave and they keep going on.
Well,
I'm like, you guys left a split second before everybody got murdered.
yeah, for
by a
real. Or
ghost.
at least like somebody got scratched really
Yeah,
hard.
Really, yeah. It's always scratches.
Always scratch, of course. That's why I'm like not really fucking
Yeah.
super scared of ghosts. If they possess you, you got an issue.
Yeah.
But normally they're just like knocking vases off of walls,
Yo.
scratching you.
How many fucking We Found Satanic Ritual videos did you find?
Dude,
So fucking many.
that's why, now that you bring that up, motherfucker, that's why I was into the exploration thing, because I had probably just watched True Detective and
Yeah.
was like, dude, cults, fucking gotta find one. We gotta
find
stop
one.
them, dude. We gotta stop what they're doing out there. And then I just don't give a fuck anymore. But
It's always Satan. They always find Satanic Rituals.
and there's a, you know, like you can just go buy a candle. Like it's not a
it's
fucking huge
always
deal.
candles.
Candles and like there was one that was pretty good, or at least they had nailed the atmosphere of it, where they had gone in exploring this thing, blah 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 blah. What's this in here? And they go and it's burnt out candles in a pentagram painted on the ground, and there's a chair in the
Yeah.
middle of it that's all soaked with blood.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that one was fake because I'm
People
trying to
don't know
picture
how
it.
blood dries.
Yeah,
They
it turns
have no
brown.
idea. Yeah,
it gets all
turns-
shitty and brown and
it's
nasty.
crusty. It like flakes
like
over
mud
shit.
and
yeah,
nasty,
It's not
yeah.
good.
But nobody knows
It
it.
always looks like pomegranate juice. Like,
Yeah,
it looks like
exactly.
you get beads and shit.
Somebody put like fucking Hunt's tomato sauce like and ground it into the carpet. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. But anyway, yeah, there's a fucking gabillion of those things. Every now and again you'll find some that they had set it up to the point where there's like people in robes.
Yeah, that's
And like you hear chanting and they follow it, and then they
Yeah.
see some people in robes, and then either peace out right away or somebody turns to look at them and then they run away. But it's all fucking clearly set up because, like, dude, if you're a Satanist and shit, you're just going to somebody's house, man. You just go to somebody's house.
yeah. What are you doing?
People have jobs; they just pay rent.
Like, you think Satanists are? Yeah, you think you're hard up for a spot?
I mean, yeah, for real. You literally just go to.
If there's enough of you to do this, somebody's
Yeah.
gotta have.
Dude, especially like
Get a
high class,
babysitter.
high
What are you
for real. What's happening here? Fucking, there's now unless there's, I'm sure there's Satanists out there who are I mean, look, no offense to Satanists out there, but you're kind of fucking low on the totem pole if you're like going to a creepy warehouse and be like, this is good, we're going for this fucking
Yeah.
creepy vibe.
No,
if you're getting that real seance fucking spell witchcraft work done, you do it in a comfortable environment.
100%.
You got strings on beads, you know, or beads on strings in your doorways. You know, you're lighting candles, you're fucking having a good time.
Sure.
Butt fucking each other, dude.
You ain't getting your good robes dirty in some fucking
No, dude,
warehouse.
you're out of your mind.
And
Those things are expensive.
These ones bother me. I think it's because I grew up like my mom like is super Wiccan.
Sure.
So I grew up around a lot of like of that occult shit.
Yeah.
And
Any divination?
yeah, 100%. My mom is super into that.
She right about anything?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I never like
never
asked.
asked.
Her. Yeah, I always respect. I thought it was. I mean, I've told my mom very, very strongly that I'm like, you're just praying in a different fucking steps.
Yeah,
like,
it's the same thing.
It's the same shit. I don't care.
Yeah, but the gods are cooler. It's all pagan.
Oh,
and shit.
100%. Pagan religions are just way better.
Yeah, of course.
We should just stop celebrating Christmas, celebrate Saturnalia. 100%.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, except I don't have to give presents. We just eat more.
Yeah. I like giving presents.
Yeah, it's all good.
Got the Hobbit about me, you know? Where you give out presents on your birthday. On your 111th birthday.
But yeah, I was always around that shit, and I always like, I think it's because I saw my mom like her like emotional reactions to like that satanic panic nonsense,
Oh, yeah.
and I've always been kind of like receptive to how much of a fucking fraudulent not like wave of bullshit it was to be like
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody ever found a real satanic ritual. I
No.
don't like in like that sense. Like I'm sure I know they happen. I know there are satanic,
Of course, yeah.
like driven murders. I've researched a bunch of them. I'm into that stuff, you know, aesthetically. But as far as the idea of like hoods and candles, that shit doesn't exist. I don't think that's ever been a thing.
It's I don't know. I'm not so convinced. I bet it has been a thing, but you're not gonna find it in an abandoned warehouse.
You're not gonna stumble upon that shit.
Yeah, exactly. They know what the fuck's going on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's mostly like as far as like the murders and stuff go,
Yeah.
sacrifices and whatnot. That is probably
It's always like it's always like some disorganized like crazy dude.
Yeah, well,
who says
okay,
it.
the murders, yeah, are like a dude who is legitimately insane. If you're a dyed-in-the-wool Satanist, you're probably just a dork who fucking thinks Satan is cool and listens to Iron Maiden and shit, which is fine, no big deal, but you're a dork.
You're already a better kind of person than
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. I don't mind the fact that you're a dork.
Right.
It's not a derogatory term,
I just
don't
think it's the least convincing thing I see in these videos is finding a satanic ritual.
Dude, it's the dumbest thing. I like, as far as the atmosphere and shit, I like better the aftermath of it.
Sure.
Like they find where a ritual might have gone down.
Yeah,
If you
finding your
walking
shit.
into a ritual, it's a fucking setup. It's
Right.
clearly a setup. And if it's shot well, cool. I like good camera work. I enjoy watching well shot
I
things.
appreciate the fraud.
Yeah, the work that went into it is cool.
100%.
And you know, even if you're trying to go Blair Witch about it, be like, "This really happened." It's like, yeah, fine. You can
Maybe.
say that, but it didn't.
Maybe it
It
did.
didn't though. Maybe it did. Yeah, but it didn't though,
But
right?
probably didn't.
Ah, but it didn't.
It did not.
Definitely
happen.
didn't though.
Oh man. I don't like those ones ever. I'm always like, as soon as I see something like candles or a hood, I'm like,
All right.
yeah, all right, what are we doing here? And
That's enough of this.
it's definitely, you see it. It's a wave too. It's like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're all like mid-20s, not prepared. They have a flashlight. And
Yeah.
They're all dressed super. Like you're just walking around an old building.
Yeah, it's a setup. I would say early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fad. It's the YouTube culture. It's a wave that was ridden for a while, and now if you try to search good urban exploration, it's a lot of that. Sadly, or them running into a monster.
Yeah. If you type in urban exploration horror, which I did for a while,
Sure.
it's just all fake.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Which is unfortunate. Some of it is very convincing and cool.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things where I was like, yo, that looks really good. And the person behind the camera doesn't seem capable of pulling off an illusion of this caliber.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, we might have something here. Like,
Right.
but it's always rakes. You know?
Yeah.
It's always not the garden appliance, the creature that we talked about earlier. That would be nuts. You just open a door, there's
Bunch of
just
rakes.
rakes. That would be unsettling.
Yeah,
Ooh, there's
what's
no
up with
leaves.
this? Yeah.
There's no leaves in the sewer. What are you doing down here?
I remember there's a cool one I watched where they were going through an old hospital or something, and it's one of those ones where nothing happens, but it's like the voiceover is like, they didn't notice at the time, but if you watch here,
Yeah.
you'll see weird shit, and it's cool because they're like walking, and you see just like the shadow of a person standing like on the door, and then they back off as they come. There's one that's cool where there's a door and the doorknob has clearly been knocked out.
Yeah.
And as they're walking through, he turns left, and when he turns right, when he comes back, you see that the doorknob. You literally watch like blackness
something duck out,
back away. From
yeah,
that hole,
I
like,
saw that very one.
Door. That shit's like fuck that.
I saw that very one. I like the ones that one. They kind of gave the vibe that it was a spirit of some kind.
Yeah.
But I am definitely down with the ones that you, upon review of the tape, you see that somebody was fucking following you.
Yeah,
the whole time. It's like, yo, that's a fucking
People were
issue.
just like keeping a tabs on.
Yeah,
you
it's like in case you found the wrong thing, it's like, yo, we'll let you, because if somebody's living in there, they're not trying to stack bodies.
No,
you know what I mean? Because they're trying to live here.
Yeah, they're trying to go unnoticed.
Yeah, which is probably fine because
most of the time they're just the lady from Home Alone 2. They
yeah,
just
exactly.
go
That's
unnoticed.
exactly right. There was one I found. I'm gonna move on to one. There was one about a guy who was living in an abandoned hospital, and these kids were up there. They weren't urban exploring.
What's the other way?
They were. What do you mean?
Oh, you were like, it's about a guy in a hospital. I was like, oh, it's from his point of view. It's like Tucker and
Yeah.
Dale. Like some kids coming to his home.
He was like, "What are they doing here? Oh my
Like,
god!
hi.
Oh my god! They're so fucking."
He's got a GoPro. He's like, oh shit. Oh shit.
They're running into. What are they filming? Why are they filming this?
Why are they filming me?
Oh shit!
It's like that idea. We wanted to call Stephen King so bad and do a movie about us sneaking into Stephen King's house to be like, oh, we're gonna go in Stephen King's house, not knowing he's home, and then it's just us hiding from Stephen King. Well, he's like, is anybody there? We're like, it'd be so good. He thinks his house is haunted, but it's just four teens,
It's just
like four guys trying to hide from him,
Trying not to
getting
get
under his bed. We're like, oh fuck,
Oh shit, he's gonna catch us, dude. We're so going to
we're gonna
jail.
piss Stephen King off.
Oh no, he's gonna write a book about
I
us.
don't want to make Stephen King mad.
Dude, he's gonna write a shitty book about us, dude.
But yeah.
Or the toaster. Oh yeah. Okay, so there's these kids. There's I think it was in Boston
Right.
that they said it was just an abandoned hospital where they filmed. Fuck me, there was a movie that they brought up with I can't remember. I'm kicking myself now because I knew the movie too.
Right.
I just listened to it today. Shit. Anyway, they filmed a movie there, and it's like this super cool old gothic hospital, and they go in there, and there's dicking around. They're looking for a place to drink, so they got a bunch of beers, and they're found a spot. They post up, and this they find a dude, and he's got a knife, but he puts the knife down. And he's kind of cool. They kind of like trepidatiously approach him, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? We're just kind of like kicking it around. We didn't mean to scare you or nothing." And he's like, "No big deal, really. I just was seeing what's up, and I'm living here now." And
I live in here, and some people were coming in
exactly.
quietly, yeah.
So what am I? I'm just protecting myself too. So they kind of give him some beers, and they're like kind of kicking it with him, and he's actually pretty cool. They start talking about Boston, like bitch about the socks and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after a while, he's kind of like, he goes, "Man, you guys are human, right?" And they go, "Excuse me, what?"
What?
And he goes, "Yeah, I just want to make sure because it really sucks when you find new people and they're pretty cool, and you find out that they're reptilians."
Yo.
And he's like, "Yeah, you always got to cut the skin off them to find out." And he's kind of like glancing over at his knife. Well, he saw one of the kids glancing over at his knife constantly.
Right.
Going like, "Why do you have a fucking knife, bud?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, well, you got to," kind of gestures at it. He's like, "Well, you got to cut the skin off them to find out."
Yeah,
that
nick
they're
'em a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all like, "Yeah, we gotta go."
Yeah.
And they go, "Hey, we're out of beer.
They duck out.
Do you want our last one? And we're gonna go get some more beer. We'll be back in like an hour." And the guy was like, "Oh, cool, awesome!" Like he had made some new friends. And the guy telling the story was like, "It was a bad feeling that I had leaving it. I felt guilty. Like this guy he's just sick."
Yeah.
You know?
Don't ever. Go
And
back
he's
there.
just been a drifter for a while, and he's just crazy in there.
Yeah.
And he felt bad that this guy thought he made some friends that he hasn't had in a while, it seemed like.
Right.
He had cool stories. He seemed cool. It's just he was sick in the head. And that's the end of that story.
That's fucking horrifying.
That's
though.
what I see. Yeah.
I don't like that. That's upsetting.
Yeah.
You guys are human,
Because
right?
that one was real.
Yeah.
Like, that one is the type of thing that was real. There was another one that seemed real,
Uh-huh.
but it was just, there was no video or anything. Those are the ones that seemed more realistic to me, because
Well,
it was
yeah.
somebody that just wrote about it. They didn't
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
a camera. They were just out there doing this shit. Was urban exploring in some house.
Sure.
And he went upstairs and he started hearing this, like, thump drag, which is like, really? You're going to do the man with the hook?
Run!
No, well, that's like the old
Right.
thump drag, a guy with a limp and a hook, the
Yeah, dude.
old school,
Run.
like, killer at, like, make out point, just gutting
Fiction's
teenagers.
coming to life to get you. Run.
But it turns out that he was kind of like, what the fuck? And, like, stayed put for a second. And then, the thump drag was a guy
Yeah.
on the ground dragging himself. Thump
the
was his
fuck?
hands hitting the ground and dragging himself.
That's
Thump
worse.
dragging himself. And he said he was making this noise that was like, it was like a groan, but kept getting more and more aggressive and aggressive. And he just dipped
Yeah.
out right away.
That's 100% worse.
Yeah.
Than Hook Guy. Because if that dude's not coming to get you, what got him?
Yeah, that's true
Fuck
too.
that.
Why is he possibly legless? But see, I don't think.
What raked him before he got
Yeah,
to
for
me?
real. I don't think that I don't think it ever said that he saw him. Like, he saw the guy, but he didn't, like, mention anything about his legs being lopped off or anything, so. Or that his legs were even there or not there, so he didn't mention. I think he just saw him, a dude dragging himself, and was like, all right, and just.
You know what? If you gotta scare somebody out of your house, you go as weird as possible.
Yeah.
You go full like
For
David.
sure.
Like, yeah, like you go like Lynch. You go Lynchian with it.
Yeah.
You just
Get at
freak
it.
them the fuck out.
Get at it, sure. I'm with that.
I remember I watched one where it was a guy recounting like him and his friends went to an old 2-story house, like a big house.
Yeah.
And they said that they always went into it, and it was nice. It was like it was just like left, like whoever lived there died, and they just hadn't cleaned it out yet.
Right.
And they would always hang out in it, but they noticed, they're like, yeah, the stairs are down. Like the stairs were knocked down. Like nobody can go up the second floor. So they always were like, yeah, we can't get up there.
No
and so
big
one
deal.
day they were like, fuck, let's find a way on the second floor. So they like climbed up some pipes. They got a window open and went in, and they just said, yeah, every window was just paper mache up with like magazines and shit, like so no light could get in. And they said they found this fucking room that was just mannequins, just dressed
Whoa.
up and shit. And they were like,
Okay.
nope, let's get out of here.
And never come back.
And that shit, yeah, you when you find stuff like that where you're just like,
Dude, anybody digging with mannequins.
the evidence that somebody had been there is still very scary.
Right. Well, I guess that could also be, too, that could be the previous occupant's mannequin room.
Possibly.
You never do know.
Yeah.
And you got to block out the light so they can get good lighting that they set up themselves. You don't want
Right.
any of that natural light leaking in to mess with the lighting you're setting up.
I read a cool one too that was, or I guess I listened to it, but it was a cool one where there was a family camping, and they were driving up, and they said they saw like a small, like, I guess not really trailer park, but it was a lot of like little duplexes off to the side that like nature had reclaimed.
Sure.
And they said they were going through there.
That stuff is really cool. I like the, like, overgrown
Yeah.
I Am Legend look to
Right.
everything. That's cool as shit.
And they went out there and they had found stuff like a nice fur coat, and they were leaving. But they like literally they said they saw across the way like or they were leaving and they turned around and they saw that a woman was in the upstairs room they
Oh,
were just
shit.
in, looking down at them.
Oh, damn.
So they went in to give the stuff back because they're like, hey, we didn't know anybody was living here.
Oh, that's
sorry.
good on
But
them.
she never made a noise, and the dad kept being like walking around while the kids were on the first floor, and he was like, they could hear him moving around going, hey, where'd you go? And then finally, he just started coming down quick, and then he's like, we need to leave. And they're like, what happened? And he got into the woods, and he's like, watched the house for a little while, and some dude was up there with her now, and he's like, yeah, when I was up there, I saw a dude from across the street come running around back, like, just bolting, and I'm like, yo, fuck that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I
That's
never
unsettling.
found that old lady. She was somewhere up there with me that whole time, and I was like, I never saw her. So I just was like, I'm out. We need to leave.
Yeah. That's a good move. That's unsettling as fuck.
Yeah,
There was one speaking of dads, there was some good one. I did come across some good ones. I just forgot to write them down. There was one where it was told from somebody was telling a story that their grandfather told them.
Right.
And they were just like dicking around in this. I don't think it was in America even, but they were dicking around. That's another good thing about being outside. I can smoke cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't be because they're bad for you, but I like them a lot.
What is it?
Ain't that the fucking truth, man? Preach, brother. Anyway, so this guy, and what turned out, his grandfather and his uncle, when his uncle was very young,
Right.
were dicking around in this like abandoned area, Urbexen, right?
Urbexen.
And he said that his grandpa got separated from his uncle.
Right.
And his uncle was like calling around and being like, hey, he's like young enough to, he didn't want to leave his dad, obviously.
Sure.
And also young enough to be like, probably, where the fuck are we? And blah, blah, blah. And finally he said, oh shit, I think the cops are coming. And after he said that, he heard some shuffling around. And his dad came running out of a dark room, snatched him up, and was like, we gotta go, and bolted.
Yeah.
And it turns out that when his dad got separated, his dad was doing something, and he felt a fucking gun barrel on his neck.
Right.
And they just kind of like held him there. And there was 2 people in there.
Yeah.
And he said that when he heard his son, the dude's uncle, who's telling the story, say that the cops were on their way, the gun went click, like they pulled the trigger, and it didn't go off.
Right.
And so he just hauled off and fucking clocked whoever was holding it, which he thinks it was a woman because it was kind of like smaller framed, long hair.
Right.
And he thinks it was a woman, and he just fucking belted this thing in the face, belted this person, just boom, and took off. It snatched up his kid and got out of there, and was like, I think that she either forgot to cock it or it was a misfire or something. But if you hadn't said that, I'd have been killed.
Fuck, dude.
And I was like, yo, that's fucking
fucked up.
That is
Yeah,
nuts.
and that's definitely like your uncle's dad. That's what, 40s, like pushing 40, 50.
It was
60s?
like I don't know.
It's a lawless era in America.
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't know that. I don't even know if it was in the
Right.
U.S. And I honestly don't even know how old the person was telling the story.
Sure.
So this could have been in the fucking 20s, for all I know.
I'm imagining
It was probably like let's say the 60s.
the 60s were bad time.
Yeah, like 50s, 60s, something like that.
Sure. Yeah. I fucking dude. That's so running into people and lawless shit, dude.
It's the most scary thing.
Sure.
It's the scariest thing.
Yeah.
Because it's the one that's gonna happen.
Yeah. 100%.
You're gonna find some desperate motherfucker out there who cannot be found, and will fucking stack bodies if it means he can be
or just like
left alone.
hide on the periphery of your awareness until you're out of the way.
Exactly.
Which is fuck yeah, dude.
That's the scariest shit.
Sure. I think I love, as much as I love the idea of finding some scary thing in there, it's that idea of like it's always it's another one where it's like it's gonna be criminals usually or like drifters
For sure.
but
I mean, criminals. It's people that are just on the fringe,
yeah
Those are my folk, dude. I like them people.
because they're all over the fucking place.
Yeah, most of the time I like them because there's fucking assholes in every group of society, but
Sure.
people who are just
Usually
off
they're
their
also
gourd.
starved for kind of like conversation, so they're very open book, which is refreshing because I myself am a bit of an open book.
Sure.
I will gush about a lot of shit.
Especially you get dudes who are like just looking for a place to squat and boot up, and they don't mind telling you how they got to be living in an abandoned house, know, because usually from their point of view anyway, it's not their fault. They just
100%.
got fucked over a million times, and they're just like, dude, it sucks that nobody lets me boot heroin instead of paying rent. So like, what the fuck am I supposed to do except live here in this abandoned warehouse? Boot heroin. What am I supposed to do about it?
Right. Man. I got some good ones that are not necessarily scary.
Sure.
There's one, I think it's in Florida.
Kind of defeats the purpose of the show, but go on.
Well, this one has a bit of a moment, but it's
Make it scary, dude. Say it in a spooky voice.
Ooh, no.
Okay.
Well, it's like an aquarium. There's an old wildlife sanctuary. I think it's in Florida.
Dude, that's cool.
Actually. But so this guy was like exploring it with his little GoPro, and he's wandering around. It's fun. He's going through all the tiger cages, all big cat areas, and it's like, yeah, look, they took all the animals and they all got sent out.
That's
he's
cool.
moving around, and he moves.
But all the like habitats are still there and shit. That's cool.
So he starts going into the aquariums, and most of it's drained and shit. But he finds one
Great white shark.
Yes, you know about this.
No, I was joking.
Yes, he finds a blocked off spot, and he
kidding.
forces his way in, and there's a massive fucking tank, and he starts shining his light through and comes face to face with this great white shark in a tank of formaldehyde, like a massive fucking formaldehyde tank.
Dude.
And he's like, yo, whoa, and he said he had a moment where he almost fucking bolted because he just saw teeth in the dark, and it was like,
Teeth in the dark is not a good thing.
it's also our next band name.
Yeah, probably, yeah. At least an album name.
Yeah, right. But yeah, and this
I can't believe I was totally kidding. A fully preserved
yeah.
great white shark.
Yeah, that's
awesome,
this dude had preserved it as like a gift to this wildlife sanctuary.
Yo.
And it's cool if you look it up. There's a whole story about it. I forget the shark's name. It's like Doris or something. It's something nice. It's something sweet, like an old lady's name.
Sure.
But sadly it became like a hot spot for people to go fuck with this shark, and they pop the top off the tank. They'd throw shit in there at it. And what sucked is when they cracked the tank open like that, the formaldehyde started like evaporating.
Yeah.
And it became like local law enforcement had to ban people from going there because like if you got into the building, you just die.
Yeah.
But the
sucks,
shark did get removed.
Good.
They drained the tank. It got trucked out to some other place. It's preserved again.
Good.
It looks real leathery and stuff.
That would be the biggest tragedy.
Right.
It'd be like, dude, just a fully preserved, full-grown great white shark. That's metal as shit, man. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I found that one because I was going into a deep dive of I was like, well, I don't want to look up any more scary stuff. I want to see like coolest shit found while urban exploring. And I found that one, and I found this one's cool too. I guess there's this mall in, I think it's China. It might be Japan. Forgive me, but it's this big mall, huge mall, like multi-tier. A
Mall of America style.
I think it was the tsunami fucked it up, leveled it. So I think it might be Japan.
Okay.
But so it got abandoned. But people now go in there, and it's all overgrown. It's very Last of Us in there.
Okay.
But they found out that the first layout level and the parking level, I think below it, like the bottom two levels, mostly the lowest point, have become so full of water.
Yeah.
So they're trudging around in there, and they found out that the tiny little koi ponds that were everywhere have now become millions of massive fucking koi fish that live at the bottom of this.
Those are the ones that don't stop growing, right?
Dude, there's millions of them, and there's so many. They were just trudging around in like the shallow areas. Each other?
No, it's like we could eat them.
Oh, probably.
You think they're gonna eat?
They're probably like cheap fish. It's like goldfish. There's big ugly fish.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, but
that's cool shit.
That's a cool
too.
one. Yeah, it's all like there's all these like pillars and shit and like shopping centers, and then just you're like shin deep in water, and there's just millions of orange and white fish everywhere,
dude,
that are all like this big to 2 feet long, like big fuckers. It's so cool. I was like, this looks rad. I'm like, this looks like a Last of Us level.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there.
I also watched there's this guy, I think his channel was like Reclaiming Chernobyl or Taking Back Chernobyl or some shit like that. He does like perimeter explorations of the Chernobyl area.
Right.
Like he goes into the towns and he goes in as far as he can and shit like that.
Yeah, before it starts getting real bad.
And he's like he compiles like footage of people who go to what do they call it? The Elephant's Foot.
It's something like that. I forget it now. It's something like that though. Yeah.
He puts he got as close as he could for a civilian, which is not very close at all.
Yeah.
But then compiled footage of other people like going into it and like the science, like research teams like filming it with like those like GoPros that like angle around because you can't get near that fucking thing.
No,
you'll die.
You'll fucking melt.
Yeah, it's a pile of molten irradiated metal.
You'll turn into that fucking RoboCop guy.
I think they said like if you're there for like 60 seconds, like you will probably die in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. But that guy's cool because Chernobyl might be the holy grail of urban exploration.
Premium
Just 'cause
destination, yeah.
There's it's so inherently dangerous.
Yeah, and also it's like abandoned in a flash too.
Yeah.
So there's probably a bunch of cool
And
shit.
the
in there.
mystique is really cool about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and there's a lot.
You ever hear about the animals
Yeah.
that are like supposedly getting real big now? They're supposed to like Chernobyl wolves and boar, I think.
Teleporting Chernobyl boars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the teleport ones. I totally forgot about that.
that showed up on beaches across the ocean. For no
Yeah,
reason.
I think there's bears too. I think.
Yeah, the later generations.
I forgot
of
all about them
wildlife,
fucking teleporting
And
boars.
they tried to, that was a big initiative in Chernobyl. They tried to kill every animal they found.
Sure.
But now there's like this generations on of these things that are just big, and
Yeah,
it's,
because those things got away. They breed,
Sure.
you know. So it's
what are you gonna do?
what are you gonna do? Can't kill everything.
There's another one. Okay, this might be, I think, my last one that was interesting. It's not, this place isn't quite abandoned yet, which is maybe a bit of a cheat.
Yeah,
It's a village. It's a village in, like, again, Japan or China. I can't remember. It's an Asian village. It might be Southeast Asia, but it's
So there's tigers.
it's a little village. There are maybe, I think they said the last census was 30 people living in this
Oh.
village for that should have been like a couple thousand people.
Is it like-
it's a big village?
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. You got leg room.
Yeah, but nobody really lives there, and everybody is slowly moving out.
Okay.
But there is one woman that lives somewhere in the heart of it that has slowly begun replacing everyone with dolls. People found out because they were urban exploring the area. They were like, "Hey, let's go up to the village that nobody lives in." Like,
Yeah.
so they're going, and then they would like, "Hey, do you know where the village? Oh, this is a doll that looks like it's fishing."
Like a mannequin?
They're like straw dolls. Like, she makes these dolls. In the if you look at the pictures, the guy's got his boot up, pole in hand, sitting there, hat, looks perfectly stable, and they're like, "Oh, that's a doll." And then
It's-
they kept walking, and they're like, "Hey, those are dolls tending that field." And they just kept finding dolls for
Dude.
hours.
See, it's unsettling out of context.
Yeah.
But it's probably just a rad, like, craft project that this old lady's
They
doing.
found her. She said, like, yeah, the village just was empty. I didn't like seeing my home be empty, so I'm
awesome.
preserving it as I remember it from a little girl. Like, so I
Oh
remember
my
this guy
God.
that farmed there. It's so sweet.
That's fucking
But if that
heart-wrenching.
lady had died before anybody found out, it
Yeah,
would have
just
just
be
fucking
like,
nightmare.
Where did these come from?
It would have been like, we
Dude,
need
what
to burn
if
this
you're
to the
gonna start
ground.
getting myths of, like, when you're not looking at them,
They kill you,
they
yeah.
move? No, they don't
No,
kill
yeah,
you.
they just move
They
around.
just do their business. You just can't be looked at.
Yeah, yeah. They
That's
probably
fun.
live their lives when nobody's there.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually tending the field. Like, where did these crops come from? This guy caught a bunch of fish.
Right? Yeah.
That's fun.
But those are all my good ones.
That's cool. I got one that's short, but I really enjoyed listening to it. This guy was urbexing,
Urbex.
and I can't remember what it was. Some kind of hospital, or it's always a hospital or a factory or whatever,
Right.
and or a school or something. And he said he was just kind of, meandering, dicking around, seeing what's up. And the scariest part was he walked up and he found the sign that says, "Warning, dangerous levels of asbestos everywhere."
Yeah.
He was like, "Shit," and he ran away. And he was like, I don't go urbexing anywhere
Right,
anymore without a respirator. And I was like,
100%. Well,
good
yeah,
idea,
a lot of those
bud.
buildings are probably abandoned for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And that was one that I was, because it was in the list of scary things.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's because it's actually chemically
that's
scary.
terrifying.
It's like, oh shit, did
Yeah.
I?
I actually do have another one. It's another one. I didn't want to bring it up, but it's got a funny thing where it's a guy, like, there was a big boat, like I don't know if I think it was a naval vessel.
Okay.
That nobody had been using for a while, and
That's
they were looking to renovate it. So this guy was walking around, like, it was like midnight. He was like snapping pictures of corridors and where everything was. And
Right.
he got home, he uploaded it to his computer, sent it to his supervisor, and his supervisor's like, "Looking good, chief. Who's that guy with the axe?" And he's like, "What?"
Huh?
And he's going through, and there's a T-junction that he said he had been through like 3-4 4 times, and so clearly in the picture down the hallway, you see some bald dude with an axe looking out, like leaning out, and he's like hidden enough that he was like, I had to crank the exposure a little bit to really see him, but like,
Right.
holy fuck, that guy was there. Like,
Oh man.
and he's like, I'm sure it was just a dude squatting who like heard me stomping around.
Sure.
But, like, he's like, I was in that T-junction all night, like back and forth. He's like, that dude, I never found that guy.
That's yeah. Those are the ones that chalk it up to the scary list, throw it in the scary
Yeah.
pile, because there's a dude living there.
But also, you know what? Thank you for not being belligerent. Thank you for having the patience to check it out before you murdered me.
Yeah, for sure. I
'Cause
mean,
I don't mean you
I'm
harm.
not coming for you.
Yeah.
I don't even know you're here. You can squat. Don't mind.
I don't care.
Someone will be coming for you, but it ain't gonna be me.
It's the government mostly.
It's probably a good heads up for that guy to be like, ah, shit, I gotta start packing up.
Sure.
You know, this guy's got a hard hat and a flashlight and a clipboard,
Yeah.
reflector vest. Like,
States
fuck.
reclaiming this one.
Son of a bitch. Let's see if I got any more.
Hang on.
No. I don't think so.
That's fine. We can move on to films.
Yeah. You can call him that.
So Zach, what did you start us off? What did you watch?
I watched one movie. I watched actually a bit of another one that cracked me up, but I didn't have time. I had to get over here.
I think I said earlier. I'm like, I watched like 1.5.
Yeah. Mine was called Finders Keepers.
Yo, that's
Did you watch it?
no, but it's perfect title.
It was. I know. It was on the list when you typed in when we were gonna watch our main
Yeah.
deal. I was like, oh no, don't even brush over it because I'm gonna be a surprise. But anyway, so it's Finders Keepers is followed. It's a great story too. Hang on, I'm gonna get my notes about it to make it a legit production because we're very professional. Friends of the paranormal.
We are friends of the paranormal.
Don't come at us. We're your friends. Mothman, werewolves, vampires, ghosts.
Remember, if we're in your house, just like poke your head out.
Yeah.
Don't let us leave.
Honestly, just be like, hey, what you doing here? Rather than like, gonna brain you with an axe.
You think that's why the rake doesn't catch anybody? He's just chasing them out.
Yeah,
He's like, hey.
probably.
I mean, that's a part of his mythos is he hates being filmed. They said he's very irritable if he's observed.
Oh,
So I guess if you're running
makes
from
sense.
he's probably just
He's
like,
all right, get the fuck out of here, dude.
all right, they're leaving. He's like a Dark Souls NPC. He just goes,
Yeah.
all right, they're leaving.
Anyway, all right. So, Finders Keepers. It was. I mean, honestly, it was fine. It's not very good. It's not very good. But
This topic does like
when there's movies being
Yeah.
made about it,
most of the
garbage.
time these topics we have a white whale, we have a Jaws or something.
Not this time.
Not this time. This is
What was the last one we had trouble with finding?
Mothman.
Yeah, fuck. Well, because there is the one,
Yeah, there's like one,
and it's
movie.
like not really though about
Yeah,
Mothman
yeah.
at all. Anywho,
The best one is okay.
yeah. Any hoozles. It's a group of 20-somethings, and
course.
they're what seem to be influencers, like Instagram influencers, because one of them, there's a couple
Sure.
who is a model and photographer
Yo,
who are
this is
just horn dogs for each other.
Like the main movie we watched. There's a photographer and like a model.
Yeah, but no. It's different though. They're like a couple,
Yeah.
and they're totally horn dogging for each other constantly, which I'm like, right on, whatever, not a big deal. And there is another guy who is just straight photography, like areas and lighting techniques, blah blah blah.
Right.
And there's one girl who just seems to be kind of like tagging along. She's the coolest character. Like if
Right.
these characters were real people, she would be the one I would be like most like
After the night's over, you'd be like, "Hey, can we like Facebook friends?"
yeah, or something.
I
or,
want to be part of your daily activities.
well, I mean, not necessarily that, but just more like she was the coolest person. Like she's
Dude, in this world, you gotta hang on to those people.
I know it. Ain't
like
that
a
the
raft
truth?
in the storm.
Ain't that the truth, man? But and also she was smoking hot, so that helps.
There it is.
Well, I mean, they all were very
Right.
attractive because they were in a movie.
Yeah,
And
in
it
a movie
wasn't-
about Instagram influencers.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but she was like the coolest personality.
Sure.
I thought. And there was the last one who is a little, she's like a little Asian girl who is just like fucking stoic as shit, badass as fuck. She's always got her headphones on and stuff. She's jamming tunes out. And the movie opens, they're just like on the road, they're lost.
Of course.
Right? But not so lost that it's the plot of the movie. They got lost.
Right.
They're lost, so they stop in this little like antique store where the purveyor of the antique store is a cool character, but the actor is like somebody's grandpa, so he's shit.
Oh.
And but the character is cool.
Right.
And he's just kind of like bartering with them about stuff. They're like, "What do you want for this?" And he's like, "What do you want to pay?" And blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. They're looking for this school, or they hear about a school. I'm not sure. I can't remember because the subtitles to this movie were for a completely different movie.
What?
And it was fucking very distracting but hilarious at the same time.
Right.
Because as they're pulling into this gravel driveway, the subtitles, it has brackets that said shaving. And I was like, what?
Excuse me?
And I was like, maybe they mean like the shaving, because shaved gravel is a thing. So I was like, maybe somebody just didn't know what they were typing. But then as we're getting out of the car, it said gunshots. And I was listening. I turned my laptop up and I'm like, what? And I'm listening. And it's like this. I don't know what the fuck was happening in this other movie, man, but it is wild. So I have in my notes, I kind of put quotes in because sometimes the out of context shit was just fucking incredible. So, there's like in the subtitles, it's like, "These guys are dead. We're gonna get you out of here." He's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna die." And it's like, what is that? While it's just set up for this urban exploration movie.
So it's like, "Hey, you want a coffee? Dude, just leave me behind."
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. It was fucking, I was dying laughing. It was so funny. So they get directions to this school, the actual movie. They get directions to this school.
Right.
That's just been shut down forever. And they're going in there, and they're just kind of dicking around. They were just doing some photography on the outside, getting the like dilapidated structure. He's like photographing his girlfriend leaning up against stuff in a sexy way, as you do. You know how you go. Yeah. But
it is.
Let's see. And then they kind of let's see. The other movie says, when we get out of here, the whole world is going to learn about these sick fucks. Elvis is still alive and in the CIA.
What the fuck?
When they're in the town, to the little badass Asian girl and the cool personality girl, they kind of separate and just kind of like explore the town. They're kind of just like messing around, and they come across these drunks who are kind of like, "Hey, you fucking pretty girls, I'm gonna lick you," or whatever.
That's your one.
Yeah, and then, but the little Asian girl just fucking thrashes one of them, just like fucking beats his ass, and I was like, "Oh shit, pretty great." And and then that's when they go to the school and they break in. There's clearly some date rape going on in the subtitles.
Oh, okay.
And there was one that says, "Should have made him a nice meatloaf." That was the subtitle. They do a fake scare.
Sure.
At the creepy spot. Some guy says, "You heard him, poodle." That was in the subtitles. It was in the subtitles. Let's see. They break in. The school looks like it was abandoned in a hurry, which I put down as a plot note because I thought it was going to be more important.
Right.
Like, oh man, this thing, something happened here, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't come up again. Let's see. There's the classic, like, mid-coitus, the photographer and his model girlfriend, they start to get a little hot and heavy, a little busy, and they hear a noise. She's like, "You gotta go check it out." Classic scene.
100%.
And he gets up and goes look, gives her like a fake out scare. It's pretty cut and dry, to be honest with you. It turns out that it's just kind of, and they're in there for a couple days, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, because they like make camp. There's nightfall and stuff. They make camp inside the school.
Sure.
And all while this, like, it's a war drama going on, I'm pretty sure, but there's a bunch of other stuff. there's like there's cheating drama too. I can't believe like my best friend slept with my girl and stuff like that in the subtitles, which is actually good. It kept me engaged because this movie like is fine. It was okay,
right. But there was
but this like what the fuck is I'm trying to see if I recognize the movie.
right.
You know what I mean?
You
I've
gotta
seen
find the movie.
That's what I'm saying. I gotta go back.
Are the I wonder if the subtitles for the other movie are
This
the
one?
subtitles are
They
Finders
switch them on
Keepers?
accident. I wonder if it's also called Finders Keepers.
Oh,
and they just kind of switch the files.
maybe.
I haven't thought about that till now. I know.
No,
It's,
the other movie is called Losers Weepers.
I hope it's true, but that'd be
It's
too
too
cool.
perfect.
Maybe too great. Yeah. So yeah, they're exploring, walking around, just kind of honestly just dicking around. They're taking pictures.
100%.
You know, being photographers, being kids, or they're 20 somethings, whatever.
Sure.
The cool personality girl, she finds this like underground or like this basement maintenance area that's got a bunch of books, and her whole thing is she just like ties her hair up, puts headphones in, and just starts reading these books.
Sure. I
Going
would
through them, and
not-
I'm like,
I wouldn't keep my headphones in though.
I'm telling you, this happened immediately for me, where I'm
Right.
like, why does everybody have their headphones in? This is a fucking problem.
I
Keep one in, I guess.
I don't like being
Shut off.
shut off in my house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm like, ugh.
Dude, I've started walking to work lately, and I just like super early in the morning, I'll have my headphones on, and it took me about maybe 20 yards, and I was like, I can't do this, because it's like there's nothing around. I was like, I tried to put one off, and was like still not good enough, so I just put it around my neck. It was like I can still hear, but I can hear everything else too.
Right.
That's how you do it. Because I got over ears. I can't do in ears. I like the cans.
I can't do cans.
Really?
My ears hurt after a while. I don't
Really?
know. I've always had that weird issue.
See, my ears hurt with the in ears.
That's weird. Yeah, mine don't.
Gives me a headache. Man, this is going off the rails, but yeah, okay. So the tiny Asian girl comes upon the gymnasium, right?
Right.
And there's rings.
Oh.
Like the gymnastics rings. So she's like right on. She takes her hoodie off, and her back tattoo, it says Semper Fi. And I was like, oh, she's a Marine.
So she's badass.
Right, so she really is badass.
She's double badass.
Yeah, double badass. And it was, I like this character who's just like this little nondescript sort of Asian girl. She's got a demeanor about her that's very badass.
Yeah.
But if you were to look at her from a distance, it'd be like, yeah, it's just some girl. No big
She's
deal.
got like Patrick Swayze stoicism, where
yeah, in a way.
she got badass aura.
Yes, and she just
Right.
like exudes this badassitude.
Right.
And she just starts working out on these rings. It's like, fuck yeah, get it.
Right,
Let's get it done. And let's see. Well, it turns out that they oh good, I have more notes because I was like, I really wanted more of the subtitles. I don't remember how much I wrote down. Oh, there's one I really like. There's this, it's what seems to be the second night.
Sure.
A dirt bike shows up outside in the courtyard of this school, and kind of like does a couple little like laps around there. It's kind of like burning out and stuff.
Right.
And then a 4-wheeler shows up, a quad, like a side-by-side shows up, and then like bigger and bigger vehicles, trucks and stuff.
Sure.
And it turns out it's these fucking like biker rednecks, and they all get in a circle, and it's Redneck Fight Club, dude. And which is pretty great. There's like some bikers that are like chanting, ah, and they're kind of like looking out the window,
Sure.
going like, oh man, like what do we do? And they're like, just stay hidden. They don't know we're in here. Even if they did, they might not give a shit. So just like,
Yeah.
don't make your presence known. Let's not even make it an issue. And they're in this Redneck Fight Club. I was like, are these the two guys fighting? They look like clones of each other.
No,
Is
no.
they're just two big, thick, corn-fed boys, bald with goatees, just beating the fuck out of each other. I was like, is this a clone fight? It's pretty cool. There's the subtitles are talking about Prince's sexuality,
Of course.
and here's like, Prince is totally bisexual, and I was like, yeah, probably. You don't get to go like that,
Yeah, most likely.
like convincing. The thing I did wasn't even that good. Anyway, so after they kind of, the rednecks disperse after a while.
it
And
sounds like nothing happens in this film.
it's honestly a bunch of nothing. The atmosphere is decent.
Sure.
The score is interesting, where it's not exactly music. It's more like ambient screech noises and stuff. And some of the noises were interesting noises,
Yeah.
but not like so much so that I wasn't like super impressed. I was just looking for things to make note of. I was like, this is pretty good.
Right,
The score is pretty cool. But it wasn't anything that was like, yo, this is awesome. Let's see. And yeah, so after the rednecks disperse, they're like, whew, close one. See, it's not even a problem. I told you. Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, they hear the screaming. And a girl comes running out of the darkness toward the school, screaming for help. Oh, my God, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to tell anybody. Oh, my God. And these 4 guys are just walking up, pursuing her.
Right.
And they catch her. And then what proceeds is a fucking fairly graphic rape scene.
Yikes.
Girls crying, like it's a whole fucking like whale crying, please stop. It's fucking
Right.
pretty unsettling, man.
Oh, no.
And I was like, yikes, this doesn't, I don't know if this belongs in this movie, because like if this is the scene you paid attention to, there's 2 routes. It's one, this is what's getting the filmmaker off, because it's written and directed by the same guy.
Of course.
And I should have wrote his name down, but I didn't. So I was like, because sometimes, you know, filmmakers, that's how they get their shit out.
Yeah.
You know, so this could be just what he enjoys.
This could be his Quentin Tarantino feet.
Exactly. It's his Tarantino foot. But
Except the Tarantino
or
foot
it,
hurts
or it could
nobody.
be just like, you know, he just, because it's not shot terribly.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, this is just the raw shit.
Do they end up, like, saving her and then the rednecks are the bad guys?
Here's the deal.
'Cause I'm like, what is the plot of this film other than nothing?
Nothing much.
Oh, I was like, it sounds like a pleasant romp.
It's, well, until the rape.
Yeah.
You know?
Until the rape.
And isn't that always the way?
Ain't that just the way?
So the main 2 people, or the only people seeing this happen, are the photographer and his model girlfriend.
Sure.
And his girlfriend's like, you got to get out there and do something. And he's like, what am I going to do? There's 4 of them down there.
For real?
What can I do? And she's like, I don't know, but we can't just sit up here and watch this. And the acting's okay, but the more of the scene I understand, like I got it, because I get both sides of it. We can't just sit here and let this happen.
Yeah,
But what am I going to do?
What, yeah. Other
What
than
can we
get
do?
Fucking
They're not packing heat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what the fuck? So finally he's like, all right, fine. He finally is like, okay, you're right. I got to go out there and do something. Or he wants to shut his girlfriend up, whatever the vibe is. And
Funny, he goes downstairs and you just see him drive off.
right. Yeah, we talked about it too long.
Yeah.
But or the boyfriend drive off.
He's like,
You motherfucker. I thought you meant the rednecks drive off. Like it was like, you took too long.
I didn't need a girlfriend anyway.
Yeah, I don't last that long. But anyway, he goes out there with like a blunt weapon, a stick, and he's like, get off her.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, oh shit. He gets up, he's kind of like unzipping his pants back up, and the photographer guy is helping the girl up, and you see the guy just go into his pants, pull out a gun, blow the girl's head off right away, and is just like, fuck, and then just blows the guy's head off. The photographer dude just shoots him right in the fucking head. And
his
they're
last
just like,
thought was, what was I gonna do?
shit. Yeah, what was I supposed to do? How did this go? This isn't a I'm not trying to say don't try and prevent rapes because you might get shot. You gotta intervene. You gotta do something, but you gotta come a little more prepared.
Yeah.
Than just a stick
It's rough.
against rednecks, because rednecks are probably packing heat.
Yeah.
Let's just read the room.
Read the room before you go here.
Yeah, but anyway, so his girlfriend just sees her boyfriend get shot. She's beating on the window, like just in frantic.
Yeah.
And breaks the fucking window. They see it and they're like, well, there's more people in there. I guess we're doing.
Gotcha. There it is.
I guess we're doing finders keepers, is what they say.
Oh.
And so they go in there and they just start hunting them.
Yeah.
And 2 of the 4 rednecks are the 2 drunks that got thrashed earlier in the movie.
Oh, so it just gets worse.
So it's kind of like, that
Sure.
bullshit. And let's see. This is the subtitles at this point say that whore was gonna lick my butthole. And then another guy says, "There's things more important than butt licking." Brackets sniffs panties.
God, I just what is?
And
this
I was
stuff?
like, this is getting good. Like the whole thing is ramping up.
Yeah.
The subtitles are ramping up. The movie's ramping up. This whole thing's moving along pretty well. And The guy. This is when things begin to finally, the movie proper begins, and I guess I'm not gonna spoil too much, because it was fairly well done, and if you ever want to watch it, I'm not gonna accidentally ruin things for you. But there's one scene, one of the girls gets beat to death, and it's kind of in the same vein as the
Right.
rape scene.
It's like
where it was
way too graphic.
It was unsettling. Well, no, it wasn't actually.
Oh.
It was done pretty well. This one of the rednecks gets surprised by one of the girls, and she like kicks a door into him and just kind of like knees him in the face while he's down and tries to run, but he grabs her by the ankle, pulls
Right.
her in, and it's a low camera shot up on the guy, who just fucking clocks her once good, and it's just like, man, fucking, you almost had me there. Clocks her once again, and then just like fucking keeps going.
Yeah.
And does it probably a good 8 or so times.
Sure.
And it's like, the first one is like, okay, she's out. You can kind of hear her whimpering, but she's out.
Yeah.
Second one, she's out cold.
Yeah.
And then after
keeps
like the
going.
fourth one, it's like, all right, she's dead.
Yeah.
Because she's just she's just a frail female.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not the Marine who
Yeah.
ends up dieharding this situation,
Sure, yeah,
kind of. You know what I
100%.
mean? Which is kind of like, of course, this is what's happened. It's a case of like, kind of like, what's that fucking movie? Where the assailants fuck with the wrong person.
Sure.
What's that one movie? It was made by the guy who made The Guest. It's his first movie.
It's not Don't Breathe, is it?
No, it's not Don't Breathe.
No. Oh no. What is that? It's
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They wear the
yeah.
bunny masks and stuff.
Yeah.
What the fuck's the name of that
it's
movie?
It's not called Hush, is it?
No.
No, it's not Hush. What the hell is that movie?
People are fucking screaming at us right now, dude.
Yeah, it's not as good as The Guest, so I don't care.
No, it's
But-
not. It's good though.
Yeah, it's fine.
I had fun watching it. That's where that the Australian girl
Is
is
it
like
Your
a
Next?
survivalist. It might be. It might be Your Next,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, that might be it. I think it's Your Next.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, you should.
It is Your Next.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's a wolf. I thought it was a
Yeah.
bunny. There probably is a bunny guy too. Yeah, so it's actually it's not horribly well done. It comes down to I felt it was wrapping up because the attempted murders were getting slower and more relished. So I was
Sure,
like,
yeah,
these people are getting out.
Yeah, it was escalating.
You know what I mean?
To a head.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But before the kills were happening like pretty quickly. Somebody
Right.
would get a hold of somebody and kill them
Sure. Yeah.
on both
yeah.
sides.
Right.
You know?
right.
So, but as soon as it like moved more to like, now I'm on top of you, strangling you
Sure,
until
yeah.
somebody comes to save you. Now it's like, okay, these people just aren't gonna die.
Yeah.
I kind of got that
It started
vibe.
narrowing in.
Yeah, and I just nailed it right away. I was like, yeah, they made it out.
Sure.
But yeah, there's some hillbillies killing people and all in a school. It's one of those movies where they just had an abandoned school to shoot in.
Sure.
And they were like, this would be a cool thing to do. And they didn't do terrible either. I was actually fairly impressed with the let's see if I can find some more quotes from the
The other
other
movie.
movie. Yeah. Because that's honestly the end. I'm not going to spoil too much because
Sure.
I'm going to try not to do that on the show anymore.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
give some cool things that I thought were good, but I'm not going to spoil the movie.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, in
Right.
case you want to watch it. It's fair. It's fine. Or at least the ones that I think are worth a watch.
Sure.
I'm not just going to be like,
Right. Right.
here's the whole movie. The ones that are shit, I'm going to fucking just burn alive and take a dump on.
Right. Right.
In whatever order I choose. Maybe I'll hold a poll online to say which order I do it in. Yeah, there's some soldier drama in the subtitles. Stuff like, we can't kill him, he's one of us. And he's like, I didn't sign up to kill Americans. And he's like, we're voting on a man's life here. And stuff like that. So they're clearly, probably some guy knows something.
Right.
Or fucked up somehow, and now they're voting on whether to kill him or not. Or they all did something, and he saw it, and he's gonna rat on them. So they're like, "Do we kill him?"
Got a butthole sniffing.
Yeah, they caught him sniffing panties and licking buttholes, trying to get his butthole licked. Let's see. The last quote from it was, "Do you want to continue eating or do you want to talk shit?" And I thought that was good. And then it ends with the survivors on the roof of the school stoically looking out, and then credits. So that was Finders Keepers. It's pretty good.
So yeah, Finders Keepers sounded fun.
It's all right. It's pretty good. It doesn't look like it.
Oh, it is recording.
Is it?
For a second, I thought we stopped recording.
Okay. Which would have been fine. End it on...
on a high note.
Yeah, end it on a... Well, it's like the movie's a mid-grade note, but do you
Right.
want to keep eating or do you want to talk shit?
I don't know. I watched a movie I like a lot. I feel like it might be a bit of a cheat, but
You're always doing this.
well, it's better. It's okay. It's not like where the oh. Apologies. I'll cut this out.
That was probably super loud.
I'll cut this out in post. I don't cheat all the time, but when I do,
You cheat enough.
it's for a good reason. Well, man, there wasn't a lot of movies, and I didn't want to talk about Chernobyl Diaries, which was like another one on there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that one, but yeah.
But I watched a movie called The Borderlands, which is super cool. It's like the Vatican has reclaimed like not a temple, like an abbot, like a small
Sure.
place of worship.
Yeah.
And they wanna reclaim it and use it, but they've been experiencing some weirdness out there. So
Happenings.
So they hire a found footage fodder crew to go out and check it out. And
Some
what
people do die.
yeah. And what proceeds is these guys urban exploring the area. They go around, they check out.
Oh, it's an inflatables.
Oh, you saw? Yeah, I saw
There's
you.
something moving
I
over
saw
there.
you look, and I saw something bulbous moving. I'm like, well, we're dead.
Yeah, this might be it.
But yeah, so it's fun. It's them exploring this abbot and the nearby countryside around it. There's kind of a town off, and it's literally just them exploring this place and trying to figure out like what year it was built, like a lot of that stuff. So you get a lot of like them checking out like the architecture. It's a pretty rad little slow burn movie before they start like experiencing strange supernatural
It's like some
stuff.
Indiana Jones shit, or?
Vaguely, yeah.
Okay.
They start experiencing weird supernatural stuff. Obviously, it turns into a horror movie, of course.
Well, it should.
But yeah, they slowly start finding out that the temple was not originally a Christian temple. It was never intended to be. It's some weird old, like pagan, strange. Like they're not even sure what religion it was for.
Dude, the best kind of pagan stuff.
They start pulling like stones out and being like, oh, they put bricks over the building itself, kinda, and there's
Right.
like markings everywhere. It's one of those movies where I'm like, there's not like, it's super box standard. There's not a lot to talk about,
Right.
but there's so much stuff I would like you to see for yourself. But it's pretty fun. I got real into really just them messing around, like up in the attic, down, like let's check out the basement, let's check out, does this place have a cellar, where do they keep this, do the people nearby know this, are these graves, like are these pews or graves, like there's a whole thing about like the outside. It really feels like for the first third it's almost like a survey, like
Cool.
an archaeological survey of this location.
Well, it's good they kind of put some, they put some real world spank on it.
Yeah,
It's not just immediately like, what was that?
It's got some fun meat, and then yeah, some weird shit happens, and
Sure.
it plays very coy with what's going on, and it's one of the, sadly I don't, like I said, I watched 1.5 movie because there's not much to talk about, like the YouTube videos and research we did.
Yeah.
They tend to be the very same. I will say though, the first third is very exciting as far as urban exploration topics. Act 2 does get a little like supernaturally, but they do play very coy with what's going on. Yeah, at first it's like, is it like devil worship? But then it's like, is it pagan stuff? And then by the time they play their hand, I'll say this: they never play their hand. You never know what the fuck it is.
That's pretty cool.
And there's
I'm
a
enjoying that.
big. I will say it is. This movie is not as good as Blair Witch.
Okay.
It's too Hollywood in how it's presented as a found footage urban exploration film.
Right.
But I will say the closing moments of this film rival the Blair Witch.
Cool.
Like
Cryptic bullshit,
they're
or-
like, they storm down into the cellar. They eventually find that there's tunnels beneath this place.
Cool.
And they storm down there, and what fucking happens? you might need to watch it again, like just the scene again,
Cool.
because you're like, I was like, what the fuck just happened to them? When you realize what you think is happening, you're like, what the fuck is happening? It's super rad. I actually really enjoyed the Borderlands a lot. There's just not a lot of, like, the characters are very fucking bland,
Oh, that's rough.
and it's not.
Well, I mean, if they're just like
bog-
engineer,
yeah, they're bog standard like anthropologist kind
Right,
of guys.
yeah.
There's not like a whole lot.
I'm gonna Google it now and see if I can find it somewhere.
It's super rad. Yeah.
Where'd you watch it?
I want to say I rented it on Prime,
Okay.
but this was like a week ago. It's one of those. It's either Prime or I got frustrated and searched it in the Roku, which
Right.
is what I often do. Which is what we did for our main movie.
You can watch it for free on Tubi.
Yo, there you go.
I don't know what Tubi is, but
But yeah, that was mine. It scratched my itch for the good first act of like
Okay.
people checking out an abandoned location and learning about it. It was something different than kids backpacking in an abandoned building or
Yeah.
checking out Chernobyl, which is the half a movie I kind of watched. I kind of started it and was like, yeah, I remember why I didn't like this movie.
yeah, who gives a shit?
It's Chernobyl, but then there's mutants.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's got the same setup as the movie we watched
Really?
today. Yeah, it has the same setup as Urbex, which is an illegal tour of a dangerous location leads to bad stuff. Except in this case, it was mutants, like irradiated mutants.
Ooh, so what wins? Mutants or well, we can talk about it.
Yeah,
when,
I will say Chernobyl Diaries is fine. It's garbage movie food. I think Chernobyl Diaries would have been 1,000% cooler if instead of people like weird deformed like Hills Have Eyes type guys.
Right.
If it was just like fucking a big scary bear with no skin, or like
the fucking
animals.
Annihilation
Yeah, like
Bear.
wildlife. Yeah, if
Yeah.
wildlife was going bad, like that would have been cool,
That's scarier.
right?
'Cause that doesn't give a fuck about you.
And,
I
like-
mean, the people probably don't either. But
Like if that movie had just been like The Edge, like we're trapped in this building with a bear now. That's
Right.
the Anthony Hopkins
Yeah.
Baldwin. But then they're also like, hey, we're like, if we're here for longer than 9 hours, we're gonna die.
We're gonna
Like,
get sick
We're
and die,
getting
yeah.
sick right now. Like we're starting to feel lethargic. Like you could have had this really tense, like ticking clock movie of like
absolutely, yeah,
man versus irradiated wild.
that would be awesome.
It
Yeah,
could-
I've never watched the movie,
It's real garbage.
but yeah, I just figured it was like, yeah, Hills Have Eyes, clone, dig
Basically
it.
what it is,
There was
yeah.
that
It
time.
just has a really cool backdrop. Chernobyl is such a cool backdrop.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. Well, because there was that section of time where it was like, fucking, the clones of Hills Have Eyes were coming around, and it was like, okay, how many people can we trap, and how many different ways?
Which was so fun. You know what?
where mutant people are butt fucking them.
Fucking Dawn of the Dead had to make money, so we had to get remakes of other old horror
Uh-huh.
movies, which then led to rip-offs of remakes.
Yeah.
It was a bad time.
It's a very consumer culture we got going on. What are you gonna do? You know,
It's an Ouroboros cycle.
that's a horrible thing.
So did you said you watched kind of half another movie?
I
as well?
watched. I skimmed through one before coming here, and just the concept of it had me cracking up. Where it was like, it was called The Lost Village,
right,
and I thought it was gonna just be like a lame. I usually try and keep one lame that's fun to talk about.
sure.
But this one was. I thought it was gonna be that, but this one was like a documentary of a guy that looked like a Fred Willard character. Like he looked like Fred
Right,
Willard in a
right.
suit and like a pork pie, or not a pork pie, a fucking fedora.
Right.
And just like talking about the history of this abandoned village. And I was skimming through it, and I was like, okay, he's standing in front of a stone wall talking for like
Right.
the whole time.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sure what he says is very interesting. He's British, so, you know, his accent is fun.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden I skim through, and there's this like weird little like ponytailed toad guy with a bat out of hell t-shirt. And
Right.
he must be some kind of local expert. And I'm like, what is happening here? And then clicking forward, it cuts to them in night vision, kind of like goofing around. I don't know if it was like a what's that scenario
Sure,
or not,
yeah.
but that lasts for a while, and that was it. I was like, all right, I can't fucking.
I can't take this.
I'm not gonna deal with this. Not on a bit of a time crunch. We're
Sure.
trying to get this done. So
Well, then I guess. Fuck it. We'll dive into our.
do it, dude.
All right,
Pull
so
the
we
trigger.
We watched again. It was a movie I had never seen before, and
Same.
It was like the first one that would come up when I would type urban exploration movies.
It's probably because it's the title, but
It is the title. It is called Urban Explorers / Urbex, but we found it. I guess its U.S. release title is The Depraved.
The Depraved.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because originally me and Zach were like, we can't find this movie. What are we gonna do?
Shit. Yeah.
But then I looked it up and I was like, I think it has a different title. And
We
sure
would have
enough-
just changed up the structure of this whole thing. I'll be like, I'll just show you Finders Keepers.
Yeah, we'll just watch
We'll just
Finders
talk about that.
Keepers. So Urban Explorers is about a bunch of kids. One of them is a photographer. The other one is Asian, which is why I was like,
yeah, I was
it's
like,
good.
oh shit.
And then another one is a couple, and they go on. It's in Berlin, which is
Well, they haven't even met before.
no, they haven't. Met
There's
before.
a couple who get met by
These
a
two other people.
French photographer
Yeah.
lady and a what'd you say? She was Korean, I think she said,
So, yeah.
and with very racist names.
Well, yeah.
They give everybody code. Okay, yeah, sorry.
They
sorry.
have.
I'm getting ahead of things.
They're a group that are okay. In Berlin, there's a bunch of tunnels, a lot of bunkers, a lot of wartime like Nazi bunkers.
Nazi shit. Yeah.
So they're on an illegal tour of these bunkers with this guy, and they all
Name-
have aliases to hide their identities in case law is involved.
Right. So they can't even. It's more
Yeah.
like you don't have to lie if you don't know what my name is.
The couple, their names are the characters from Natural Born Killers, which
Yeah.
is funny because they said it was like Mikey and Mallory.
It
and
was
you were like-
Mickey and Mallory.
you were
I was like, why do I know that?
And then they were like, oh, from Natural Born Killers. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah,
there it is.
that's exactly what it is,
And
Dante.
then
Sorry.
one is Haiku and Olympia.
Haiku and Olympia
Yeah.
because the one is Asian, so they call her Haiku. I'm like, Jesus, that's Japanese.
Yeah, yeah.
This girl's Korean. That's not working. And the other, she takes pictures, so they call her Olympia. So it's a camera joke.
And then I got on the movie's case because the guide is like, my name's Dante, and I was like, you should be called Virgil since you're the guide. Actually,
Yeah.
I
You're
would've
not
been-
the dude experiencing this.
Had I
so-
been there, I'd be like, shouldn't it be Virgil? And be like, you can go back to the hotel. It's like, come on. Man.
I just thought you read it.
So they go into the abandoned Berlin tunnels, which I almost brought it up, but there's it's not really urban exploration, but it's very reminiscent of that like underground city in the tunnels where those orphans live. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's super rad. We'll look it up later. But it might be a topic.
in the actual world
The
that we
real
live
world,
in?
yeah. There's
Oh.
a community of orphans that take care of each other in like tunnels in some
Badass.
tiny town in Eastern Europe.
It's kind of like those. There's a bunch
like,
of people.
It's like Shredder's commune essentially. But,
Oh, dude.
But they were like, we don't need a ninja cult, right? We can just do
we
this.
can just do this. We don't need
We're
Shredder.
a family.
I like turtles.
Sure. Yeah, I actually like turtles.
I'm a fan of turtles. It's kind of like those guys who live under. There's a bunch of people living under the Las Vegas Strip. Too,
Yeah.
That are. I don't think they're cool orphans, but
No. They're just homeless.
yeah.
But yeah, so they're exploring these abandoned Berlin Nazi bunkers essentially.
Yeah.
When they run afoul of the locals, I guess is the best term.
Kinda. There's a fun scene that we were doing. Well, because at first, it's just basic bullshit.
It's
you
got
know?
some cool stuff. Like they find the piano and all the books,
Dude.
and they make some coffee and shit. And he's
The
like,
guy brought like.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, these people are not prepared for this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or it's like in shorts and sneakers.
and we were like, is Dante like fucking not? Does he not know what he's doing?
Yeah, because he's like in a nice button-down shirt. He's got cargo shorts and sneakers on and stuff. And but then when they get into a place that's submerged in water, he pulls out. He's got waiters for everybody. He's got chest-high waiters for the whole
He's
group.
totally prepared.
It's like, dude, all right, never mind, Dante. I'm
And
sorry.
he's got like a cool climbing axe that he's popping locks through
Dude,
doors.
so cool. He's got gear to make coffee and cups and stuff.
He's
And he's
been
like,
here
dude,
before.
your backpack is not big enough to hold all this stuff. But, you know,
right.
we'll gloss over that for the sake of brevity, you know.
But it's fun. They have that fun conversation about like Nazi UFOs and shit, and how they would play the piano, nice music, so foreigners would come investigate and get abducted.
Yeah, I was like, bro, this could get great.
Yeah,
this
we
movie.
were like, this is gonna get good,
Dude, because they were talking about the Nazi hybrid
Yeah.
experiments too. So it's like, dude, is this gonna be like aliens and half animal people?
Yeah,
and shit?
they're like lumbering around down here.
This
I'm
is
like,
gonna be
this is yeah.
awesome.
Would you say this was a shit movie?
I would indeed, Matt. I would indeed.
Because yeah, again,
movie sucked ass,
sadly
dude.
there is no Jaws for this. This was just the top pick, and it is not.
And
good.
like I said, it's probably the top pick just because it
The title,
literally
yeah.
is the title of the
Oh,
movie.
Fuck, dude, it's rough. Nothing happens for the first act except for some. Honestly, you know what? decent, nice urban exploration stuff of them going through water
Sure.
and going across those little support beams.
I really wish they were better prepared.
100%.
Or no, well, because it's not like they weren't prepared. I wish they looked better prepared.
Sure.
Like they actually knew what the fuck they were going to get into.
kinda,
Or at
yeah.
least the guide should.
Sure.
The people can be
Right.
whatever because they don't even know what the fuck is going on. They're just like, oh,
Right,
wouldn't it be
right.
cool to go into the tunnels?
That's like something that like As Above, So Below did a lot better, where it
Yeah.
felt like the two people that were taking them down there. It's like, oh yeah, these guys look like
Yeah,
they've
well,
been
see,
down there a bunch.
everybody in that scenario knew what the fuck was going on.
Right,
They knew
right.
they were going to the fucking catacombs.
Right.
Put on some boots.
Put on some gear.
Dude, do something. But yeah, this is like the first little bit was poking fun at it. They went to the Blade nightclub,
They do
You know
go
what I
to a
mean?
Blade nightclub.
and then getting surprised by, oh, Dante actually has some gear.
Yeah.
All right,
They run
My
into
bad,
some
Dante.
like
local color.
just jacked all neck dudes. Like,
Dude, there was a guy who had no shirt and a jacket on holding an adolescent pit bull. And you can't understand because everybody's clearly, I think it was German actors
Yeah.
speaking English, but all the scenes that go down in German, there's no subtitles for.
subtitles.
Which is probably, people do that to kind of put you in the foreigner's
Sure.
point of view.
Yeah.
You don't understand what they're saying.
I was fine with it when they ran into those bald dudes and
Yeah.
like, Dante was just trying to like
cool the situation.
because that's
yeah.
you're tense. You're like, I don't know what's being said.
Sure.
But eventually you're like, oh, the main villain of this movie only speaks German
And you don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
ever. Which
Too bad we don't know anybody
You know what?
that speaks German.
Might be scarier. It might be the best detail of the film.
Dude, if there wasn't so much that he was trying to
Yeah.
say,
If there wasn't a character who spoke German too, because there's a lot of scenes where
that's true.
yeah, a lot of scenes we'll get to it. But there's a lot of scenes where one of the kids is like talking to the killer of the movie.
Yeah.
Spoilers: they run into a murderer.
What
As
are you
you
gonna
are
do?
one to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're having conversations, and we're just like, me and Zach were just like, man.
It'd be nice to know what the fuck they were saying, because it's not like there's anything else to pay attention
Yeah.
to.
And I don't think it was the intent, but there is a scene where like the guy is saying shit and laughing,
Yeah.
and the kid is like mortified by what he's hearing, and
Sure.
his friend is like look like what's he saying?
Yeah,
And I'm like, I don't think they meant that to be good, but I'm like, that might be the best use of it
absolutely.
because you're her then. You're
Yeah,
like,
you're in her POV.
What's going on?
So, yeah, well, there's some sections of it where it makes sense. Like I said, if you're gonna be put into the shoes of a foreigner, it's fine that
100%.
there's no subtitles because they don't know what he's saying. So why the fuck should you?
Yeah.
You're along the ride with them. You're not
Yeah.
you're not the omnipotent observer here. So. Some stuff is fine. That girl hits that poor dog with a stick.
Yeah, they let the dog run, and she
And
like bats that dog.
We were joking about them making friends and the dog just getting loose and going up to lick her, and she just beans him with a fucking stick. And somebody clearly, the shot of the dog landing is somebody clearly just kind of like
gently rolling the
yeah,
dog
just kind of
over.
rolling the dog over.
having fun.
Yeah. Because the dog immediately starts to get up. You can tell, but the camera cuts away.
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
dog is like ready to get up and get rolled again. Because it's a dog.
Yeah.
He's a good boy, probably.
But yeah, that encounter with those guys goes fucking nowhere.
It
They
literally
they
never
just-
show up again.
They walk out of a place and then they walk back
Back
to
into
that
the place. Yeah.
And I'm like, what's over there?
What? It's their fucking shirtless camp.
Yeah, and then they go deeper. They go past like mortared up bricks and shit. And Dante's like, I've never been this deep.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they want to go to a certain room.
It's
I
like
can't remember what they
it's
said.
like the
It's like
Fokker
the
bunker.
driver's room.
Yeah, it's where the
Not a
show-
Führer, a
yeah,
Fahrer,
it's
yeah.
where the chauffeurs would go. They say. And
Yeah.
it's like nice and secure and like
a bunch of
nobody's been
Nazi
there.
memorabilia, but they had to wall it up so that neo-Nazis don't go there and worship.
Which they say twice.
Yeah.
For no reason. I don't know what they get to he says it going in, and then when they get to the actual bricks, the same character goes, Why bring it up again?
why did they bring it up?
And he says it again like they never had that conversation, and I
Yeah.
was like, why do you ask me again?
And he doesn't even, Dante, the guy, doesn't even say, I already told you this, numbnuts. What are you talking about?
yeah.
But I thought it would be a great touch if it was like that scene from Zoolander where he says the hand model thing.
Yeah, but
and he
why male
legitimate
models?
why male models, and the guy's like, I literally just told you.
Are you serious?
Yeah, which was a nice little improv thing from Zoolander.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that.
No.
They just the script sucks.
It's like they forgot they wrote that scene.
Yeah, it's the script sucks, and they filmed it, and it was like, I don't know, we got two of them, fuck it.
Yeah.
We don't have anything else for them to say while they're breaking down the brick wall, but we need to show them breaking down the brick
Sure.
wall.
So nothing happens in the movie.
Nothing happens.
Until Dante is walking across a precarious beam.
They do this thing where they have what looks like just sheets of aluminum siding
Yeah.
that they're laying across ravines.
Yeah.
Like
well,
they're like elevator
it's,
shafts.
it's like metal. There's like a metal beam across, and they lay like a board across to get like a little
yeah, it's like a thing.
yeah.
It's like a thing of aluminum siding. It
Yeah.
looks like it's like corrugated.
Sure. But
And one big corrugation in it, and they do a couple of these, or at least one, and they're just kind of having a good time kicking it in there. It's clear that it's like going well, I guess. Everybody's kind of having a good time, and Dante is the last one to walk across this beam, and Olympia, this fucking idiot, goes like, "Hey Dante, smile." Takes a flash picture of him. He goes "Whoa," while he's on the middle of this precarious beam and just plummets a good fucking 40
yeah.
feet.
He breaks his shin bone. Like,
His femur.
Oh, his femur. Yeah.
Yeah,
He breaks his
he-
upper leg.
They said he breaks his thigh bone, and I was like, "That's the femur. There's an artery in there.
You ain't walking
You don't want to
again.
fuck
You're
with.
done.
Yeah, it's a big issue." And so they're kind of like, "Fuck." The girl who took the picture is just like, "I'm so sorry. Oh my god, why did I do
Yeah,
that?"
yeah.
Everybody's like, "I don't know. Why did you do that?" they find some rope, and they like kind of go down to check the status. They're just gonna leave him to die. He's not doing great. It turns out that the girl of the couple is a nurse, so she can at least do something. So they send her down there, and she tourniquets his leg because he's bleeding a lot. He's got a compound fracture sticking out of his thigh. Big fucking problem. A lot of people die this way if they break their femur. And so she takes out this cloth and ties a tourniquet around the top of his thigh. And I'm like, "Dog, you're down there with blue jeans. I know you got a belt on. Take your belt off. Use your belt, you weirdo. Have you never seen a movie where somebody gets their leg blown off and you got to stop the bleeding? Come on, man."
What do we do?
But so their plan is somebody has to stay down there with Dante, and the Haiku and Olympia are gonna trace their steps back, get to the surface, get help, and come back down and like rendezvous with them to get Dante help because they can't move him. He's probably got some internal bleeding. It's not a good idea to move him. That's what the nurse says, and I'm
Well,
like,
yeah.
don't
How are you
move
gonna
him.
get him up there?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You gonna drag him by his fucking shirt collar or something?
Yeah,
like
no,
by the
absolutely not.
seat of his pants?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Do not move him. Well,
By his boots.
but also it's a fucked situation too because it's like, what are they gonna do? So the Olympia and Haiku leave to go find help.
Right.
And Mickey and Mallory are
Right.
are down there just kind of like keeping an unconscious Dante company, just kind of like holding down the fort, and they see movement up there. They see a flashlight up at the top of the shaft, and like, fuck! So luckily there's like some kind of, I don't know, a filing cabinet or something down there.
Why was there a fucking like closet?
I don't know.
It didn't make any. There's another one later that we were like, where the fuck was this tunnel?
Yeah, the reason that cabinet is down there because they needed something to hide in when this happened.
100%.
Which doesn't even matter because the guy drops down, finds them right away because there's only one thing to hide in, and opens it up and is like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get a stretcher
Yeah.
for this guy."
This guy shows up who looks like if you had a Kevin Sorbo action figure and you left him outside too long and he melted just a bit.
He looks like Willem Dafoe and a chimp did the fusion dance, and then that did the fusion dance with Kevin Sorbo.
Oh my
is
God.
this amalgamation of Beastman. But he looks great. He's got a great face
he's got a great face. He's
Great face for
he's
film.
probably we can't understand him because he speaks exclusively German except for a couple keywords.
Yeah.
But he's probably the best actor in the movie, but we can't tell.
Absolutely.
Like, we
He's
can't
the
tell for
best
sure.
actor. I always I said this during when we did fuck me. Oh, it was found footage because I brought up Quarantine,
Right.
which or at the Wreck version of it, the first version. I was like, I like foreign films because you can't tell if anybody's a bad actor. It's like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying. So
Probably why India loves American films so much. They just
that could
feel
be
awesome.
Yeah, it's mostly special effects anyway. But anyway, so yeah, he kind of leaves for a couple minutes, and when he comes back, he's got a stretcher.
Yeah.
And kind of this couple is like, I don't know what else to do. Like at least he's got his shit together, at least enough to help us. So they start trekking back to where this dude is just posted up, I guess, in these tunnels.
It's got a nice place.
He does, man. And he's got some gear too. He's got like medical supplies.
Yeah, for a bit we're like, oh, he's got a phone and a little first aid kit, and like the lady's like, he could start his own hospital. How much?
Yeah, he's actually got some legit
He's got
like
a fridge,
medications down there and stuff. He's like cooking.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, yeah, you better be careful, man. This Mr. Studio Girl over here. He's gonna
Dude, he's so good.
This girl's gonna be like, yo, he's got his own place. He
up?
knows
Yeah.
some medical stuff. He can cook, you know? So it's pretty good. It's looking up for
Yeah.
what should we I don't even know
What was his name? Yeah.
I don't know if they even said his name. I was gonna try and give him a nickname, but I couldn't think of one fast enough.
Yeah. I will say
Kevin Sordid.
I will say I appreciate that despite all the ramp up and the Nazi lingo that was going on.
Yeah.
This guy was not a Nazi. Like,
No.
He was they say he was a
German Border Patrol. Probably on the wall.
the closest we get is that he was a Berlin Wall border guy,
Yeah.
which is like cool. And he kind of like in German like describes what he did, and it's enough to terrify one of the characters. Pretty hefty.
Yeah, because he's the only one who understands what the fuck he's saying. And it looked like they ask him if he ever shot anybody.
Yeah.
And, and he goes like, "Gah, gah, 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 gah." And it's pretty clear that he did, and he had a fucking blast doing it.
He does the knife motion too, like he gutted people.
Yeah,
like,
he was like cutting throats and shit. And that's, that's fine to do as far as the filmmaking standpoint goes too, because it's like to the character, he's just talking with his hands.
Yeah.
But to an unsuspecting, or to an what do you call that? An unimmersed audience, it's just him with his hands telling you what he's saying.
Sure.
Because there's no fucking subtitles.
Yeah. I feel like there's a good movie here.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of good choices in this
But there's way too many bad ones.
movie. 100%.
Too. It's like the shaky cam. It's like fucking enough already.
Yeah.
You don't have a dolly.
Yeah. I don't know if this guy had. Oh no, this guy had a dolly. He chose not to use it. The era
That's
this
what
movie
I'm
was
saying.
made. This movie was made when that was all the rage, man.
It's
100%.
It just sucks because
Handheld and you don't stop moving.
I could see some cool shots that could be done.
Sure.
Well, okay, so when this scene ramps up, they're in there, they're eating stew, right? And they see the guy, their would-be rescuer, is on the phone. He's got a fucking phone down there.
Yeah.
And he's on the phone, he's talking to somebody, hangs up the phone, and just kind of like fucks off into his fortress somewhere, his underground lair. And so the kid, Paul Atreides, gets up, and he looks a lot like he's like a poor man's Timothy Chalamet. And he does look a little bit like Paul Atreides. How I pictured Paul Atreides when I read Dune.
Right.
That's another topic. We'll talk about Dune. But he kind of gets the main dude, Mick, gets up, and I think it was a tree. And he kind of follows him just to see what's up. And he comes across the rescuer guy, who kind of like talks to him for a second, and then like just injects him with a syringe in his neck right away.
Yeah.
And me and Matt were kind of like, still, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was medicine.
What
You know what I mean? Maybe it was some sort of painkiller or something.
Like a tetanus shot or something.
Yeah, who knows? He might be helping out. It's not the case though, because when he wakes up, he's strapped to like a bunk bed,
Yeah.
some sort of rack.
He gets out very easily.
Yeah, he easily escapes. And there's a portion where he's clearly going to leave his girlfriend there for whatever fate may have.
Yeah.
But he hears her pleading and crying and screaming and shit, and he's like, "Ah."
He waits so fucking long to save his girlfriend.
He waits so long in a bunch of different sections because he like waits a while to decide that he's even gonna go back. It takes him forever to get to this area that is shot exclusively in shaky cam, and I'm like, this would have been a good dolly track, where it's like kind of following him,
Right.
dolly tracking after him, or even like facing him. I'm doing things with my hands you can't see. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But like a dolly tracking on him, and like with his girlfriend's screams getting louder and louder, could be a pretty effective shot, man.
Right.
And then he comes across, the room that she's being, I guess, shittily tortured in, because she's tied to a chair.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's just watching her as he like.
He blows up the bag and pops it in her. We made the joke. He's like suffocating her with a plastic bag, and he like starts twisting it up, and I'm like, pop it in her face. And he does.
He's like,
What the fuck is this?
Like, what is even happening?
His torture implements are like pliers,
A
knife, a fork, and we're like, what is happening?
What's going on? And I was like, maybe it's still cool. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just showing her his knife collection and stuff.
She was freaking out.
And she's freaking out. He had to strap her down. You know, she's being hysterical.
get cut.
What are you gonna do? Exactly. These things are sharp. You can't be flailing around.
You dummy. You dumb tourist.
You foreign.
I thought you were here for a tour.
Yeah, come on. I'm gonna show you around. You just gotta calm down.
It's
I'm
like Halloween
distracted.
Horror Nights.
Yeah.
They don't fucking play him.
I thought you wanted this. But yeah, so he takes forever to even get into the room, and then he's kind of like staying hidden. He opens a drawer, there's a fucking gun in it, and he picks up the gun. He gets up and he's like, "Hey, motherfucker.
Hey,
You know-
you German.
you piece of shit, you popping bags in my girlfriend's face. I'll show you something or other." And we are immediately like, shoot him.
Yeah, what are you doing?
What's up? How come you're not shooting him?
It's just returning. What are you waiting for?
Yeah. How come you're not doing a thing?
He stares at that gun for so long.
It's easily 20 seconds.
And then he picks it up and waits for so long. And then
Yeah.
he goes, "Hey, you." He's like George. "Hey, you. Get your damn hands off her."
You better not touch
And then
her.
Biff Tannen turns around.
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
"Oh." But yeah, and then he doesn't even shoot him. They like wrestle. for
No,
a bit.
he just charges him. The assailant
course.
charges him. There's a scuffle. A gunshot goes off. I think he catches him.
He shoots. Well, he shoots like 2 or 3 times. That they just gotta go.
Yeah,
off
they just
wildly.
scatter
And then
everywhere.
he catches him in the chest.
Shoulder.
They show blood,
Yeah, there's blood somewhere.
and he does go unconscious. But it doesn't. Nothing comes about of it.
No.
Well, he's unconscious on the ground. He saves
And then the
his-
dude brains him a couple times too with a pipe.
Yeah, he hits him for a bit, and we're just like, don't ever stop.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Turn his head into ground beef onto
You've
the ground.
literally won. This is
This is coup de grace.
this is
Yeah,
the-
like you're
the biggest
good to
sin
go.
of the film is that he wins and then just wastes it.
Ugh.
But yeah, they say
Oh wait, no, that was that.
no, that's that scene. Yeah,
No, because he like runs away at first.
he
And
does.
starts dumping cabinets.
He throws cabinets all over the place. He like doesn't save his girlfriend right
Stabs
away.
him in the face with a fork, and then locks him in a little,
Yeah.
like a locker or something, and but only puts the fork through the handles. It's like, you know how easy it is to break a fork?
Yeah.
People we
It's
so were
so
talking
stupid.
about.
Yeah.
Psychics do it as a prank. You know, like you just kick it and it's over.
Yeah, so, but
That's when he goes back scuffle for the
he
gun.
saves her, and sadly, nothing happens.
Not really.
They run. She falls in. Metal and concrete becomes grass,
Quicksand.
grass and dirt.
Yeah.
Just falls in on itself, and she's like, "I can't." We're like, I can't get out.
That's what, dude. They have their. I see what they're doing. Like he catches her.
Yeah.
Before she plummets like a legit Dante level, you know, and she finds a ledge that has like a little pocket she can crouch in, and they're like, okay, what the fuck are we gonna do? And from this ledge, their fingers can like barely touch each other.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck, I gotta go back and get the rope. I'm like,
sorry.
what do you mean? For one, this guy who should be dead is up there hunting your ass. For two, there's junk everywhere. Grab something to make your hand longer.
Yeah.
It's fucking
or just
throw something.
get in that hole and wait.
Or why didn't you pull her up when you caught her?
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's so frustrating.
And then
And-
so he leaves her there,
He leaves her there to go find this rope.
and we come to what may be the
greatest fucking part of this movie.
We straight up were like, it was worth it.
We lost it pretty hard, dude.
Oh man,
Because do you want to tell her? Or should I?
dude. Okay, he catches this kid very easily, very handily.
Very easily, yeah.
He stabs him. Wait, first of all, he like catches him, makes him sit on like a shelf, like he was a boy, like a small boy.
Oh yeah, he puts the wig on
puts
him.
a wig on him.
No, he takes off his shirt.
Yeah, he takes off his shirt.
He strips
puts a
him of his
wig
shirt.
on him.
He puts a little red like a bob cut
Yeah.
wig on him.
And then he stabs him and like starts cutting across the stomach.
Yeah.
Before he starts straight up, like I was taking my son's shirt off for bath time. This man's skin.
He's just legitimately skins him,
And
while me and Matt are just screaming at the screen like, "Oh my god!"
Whoa! Because up to this point, we were like, he burnt
lame,
his
dude.
girlfriend's hair.
Yeah.
He kind of like popped bags in her face.
He's kind of like, yeah, he's fucking around, but he's not doing anything too intense. And then he skins this kid, like who is just screaming.
Yeah.
He's got this wig on for God knows what reason.
The kid falls on the ground and he throws.
He throws the skin on top of it. I was like, dude, he didn't even want it. Like, what is he doing?
And then it gets. We were like, then he stops and he has like a fucking he looks and a box of salt.
It's a box of salt, and I was like, oh, good
And he
lord.
starts throwing handfuls
He
of
just
salt.
threw a handful of salt on him, which then sizzles like the kid's a
it
slug.
sizzles. Dude, he
It's so
dude,
bizarre.
are you a reptilian? I only know if I cut the skin.
That's
off.
right.
Dude.
He found out that day. It's so bizarre, man.
So that kid dies.
It was awesome though. We had a really great time during that.
That's
part
the
of
best
movie.
scene in the movie.
Easily.
And then the girl. This is the inexplicable moment where the girl is like in that pit, and she realizes that the back wall of the pit is also a very easily push-outable. Like it's just
It's just
push,
a pile of dirt.
and then it leads to a subway.
It leads to a pit with a bunch of light bulbs in it.
Yeah,
For
which
no
which
reason.
leads to like a subway tunnel.
Yeah, it leads to like a terminal.
And I'm
subway
like,
terminal.
what the? I was like, what the fuck is the layout of this place?
Yeah, where are we right now?
Because the kid with her boyfriend's like, I can hear the subway. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fucking 10 feet that
It's
way.
literally over there.
So she gets out. She finds a dude who can't understand her. She's like, "Help me!" And instead of just leaving the fucking subway like a sane person, she sits there patiently and waits.
She
for this guy
steals
to
this
come
man's
back.
jacket
Yeah, she steals this
and
man's jacket.
sits on a bench.
He goes to call for help, but the man gets him and kills him.
He-
But
the dude
there's a weird
hesitates.
pause. He stops and he reads something on it. We were like, "What is he reading?"
What is this?
We're
And then
gonna-
he
it's
goes
a
to
limp-
press the button.
He gets his
Throat cut immediately.
An enormous amount of blood immediately splashes.
Yeah.
The guy wears that dude's shirt, catches her on a train. He flashes like a badge so that nobody like helps her.
Which I was thinking, yeah, because this girl's about to be freaking out, and he's probably just showing people his badge, like, yo, this girl is crazy. I'm trying to detain her. And while she's like, ah, this dude is insane.
Yeah.
He's trying to kill me. Oh my god. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
She gets her. There's a mini bit of a chase before he like catches her and snaps her neck.
Just breaks her
pretty
neck right away.
unceremoniously.
We forgot.
Oh yeah, the boyfriend finds the Korean and the French lady just have been turned into the stew that they were
That
eating.
they ate earlier,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Oh, we joked about that.
They're
How
all-
fun is
yeah,
that?"
Yeah, we joked about it. We were like, "Oh, it's people, dude."
It's definitely
Well, we
your
were like,
friends.
"It's Dante," which is the biggest surprise is that Dante lives.
Dante survives.
Like he hucked him into garbage, and Dante like dragged himself out and
Yeah.
like got out into a drain pipe.
They found him like they found E.T. when he was sick.
Yeah. But yeah, the movie kind of ends just very unceremoniously.
It's pretty shit, man.
It's not good. It really peaks when he starts skinning that dude.
Yeah, that was a real fucking. That was a high point. That was a crest.
I just remember you being like, it was all worth it if it led to this.
That's right, man.
It's
it's about this one was not the journey; it was the destination.
yeah. It's sad that it really just makes way for a torture
Because
movie.
there is kind of a cool. I mean, if you think about it too, this like was probably Saw and Hostel were big,
100%.
and like the shaky found.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say found footage, but that's incorrect. It wasn't found
The
footage.
handheld look was big.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Handheld
it's
horror.
big when it's definitely around Saw because anytime something intense was happening, the borders of the film like blurred in.
Right.
And it was like, this isn't fucking emphasizing anything. It's just
No.
making it annoying to look at.
It was cool in Saw because something was happening.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's a rough movie.
I mean, we had fun watching it.
Yeah.
But mostly
yeah.
because we know how to have fun watching shitty movies.
Right. This was a lot like the Mothman one, where it's like the films were a little bit. We at least had some stuff to talk about. There are films in the urban exploration genre,
Yeah, for sure.
which was nice. Urbex is not the Jaws of the genre. There
No.
not one really.
I mean, unless there's a secret one.
Yeah, unless there's one floating around out there that I don't know about. And if you do know about it, please fucking let me know.
Yeah, let somebody know.
It is
Tell
it is a
someone.
broad enough genre though that like I Blair Witch technically counts because they explore a house, but
At one point.
at a point, yeah. But it's all right. It's okay. I at least watched Borderlands, which I never saw, which is pretty good.
I'm gonna look that one up actually.
Yeah, it's really rad. But so that's all our topics. Zach, I think we kind of talked about it, but I assume it's safe to say we both love the idea of long abandoned areas.
Yes.
Wildlife has taken over, exploring it, running into squatters, hearing their tales.
Yes.
Yeah,
These are good times.
yeah, it's a cool thing. I think it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite like concepts. I think it has the most potential. Like I think there is a great urban exploration movie that
It
will be made one day.
That at least could be made.
yeah, that
Right.
will be made one day.
I
hope.
back that up completely.
Yeah.
Because it is I love a good fucking fringe society.
Sure.
Fucking running out there doing your thing, reclaimed by nature.
I'd even say, fuck it, you could do both. What? Give me first act, it's all isolated. Give me the second act, they run into a guy, and at first you think it's gonna be that kind of movie, but then it's no. There's like a culture of these vagrants that live in like, could you imagine a massive fucking apartment block where it's like almost like there's people on the East Block that have their own thing, and
Right.
they have a currency that they kind of use between each other.
That would be cool.
And it's like, oh, there's like a little society, cool. And then you dust till dawn them in the third act. They're like, no, you can't go around at night because it roams the halls. And you're like, what?
What do
And
you mean?
then you go, no, there is a thing out there that
And then
shrieks and chases people.
all the lights start shutting off, and
Yeah.
that would be good. That's not a bad idea, bud, because you can hit a lot of the bullet points on urban
Sure.
exploration. You're like, okay, the first act, yeah, you're just kind of like dicking around. There's nothing around. You run into a guy. There's your vagrant and fringe
you do
society
you do
guy.
a fake out of, is it going to be one of these movies?
Yeah, and then that guy, he's kind of shifty at first, but is it because he doesn't trust you, or is it because he's crazy and gonna fuck you up? And then it turns out that he's part of a larger, like a little village, and that way you get your team of, or like a squad of squatters, the
Even
squad.
if it's a community where it's like, they're like, yeah, there's like 30 of us.
Yeah,
that
that's
live in
totally
this
fine.
Whole
a
building.
couple dozen or so, sure.
Get one of those
and-
massive apartment buildings. That
Yeah,
you
that
see.
nobody even goes to anymore.
Sure.
And they just kind of are like, yeah, we have our own economy, and that's cool. And
Yeah,
then
he just like, you even have stuff where you could set up where he like rattles off. He's like, just don't go to floor 17, 13, or 17, 23, and 40.
and don't go to the east side of building BO2.
Yeah, don't take
know,
the
don't-
stairwells in this block because he doesn't. You didn't even say. He just said,
Like
don't do
they're
this.
they're
Be
nice
out by
enough.
sundown.
They're nice enough people, but they don't know you, so
Sure.
they're gonna be a little leery, and
Sure.
you might be fine, but don't even risk it. And like, once you break down the walls of like your Kyle Reese,
Sure.
like your guide through this,
Yeah.
he's kind of like, no, he's cool, it's fine. And then, but you got to be out by sundown.
Yeah.
And then they don't make it out by sundown, and they're like, okay, here's the real fucking shit. There's a rake out there.
Yeah.
And
Yo, what if they're trying? They're like fast walking and they hear thumping like real bad, and they don't know what it is until they go to leave out an entrance, and there's just like some woman frantically nailing boards.
Ooh,
And they're
cool.
like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "No, you can't leave now. You have to stay in.
You
here.
have to stay in
Nobody
here.
can go out
Come
there.
with me."
Yeah, you need to be
Yeah.
in here." And they're just like, one of them's like, "I don't give a shit." And he fucking wanders
Yeah.
off, and you
Just
just
gets torn
hear
apart.
that dude just getting
Yeah.
flayed.
And that would be a good little tense scene too, because let's say they have to leave out of the spot that has like kind of the more hostile people in it, but they're like trying to save them too. They're like trying to board up. They're like, hey, you can't keep us here, man.
Yeah.
We're walking free, dude. You can't just fucking hold us hostage here, dude. And then they're like, he's like, no, this is for your own safety.
Yeah, really? No.
You can't go out there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling
yeah.
you, you were supposed to be gone by sundown, and you're not. So you're here with us now. And then you start picking them apart with a pale long thing that
Just something fuck. You could. I would. You know what? I would. Even
you
go-
would have to do the rake though, because
Yeah.
it's an urban exploration
I
thing.
want this thing to be so uncomfortably big.
Sure.
Like I'm imagining like this thing can't walk. I'm imagining this thing has to. It's like reaching out. And its arm is like 14 feet, and it's like catching a doorway.
You
and
always do this.
It's sliding around.
That'd be cool.
Well, or like it's at the top of the stairwell. It just reaches down and just starts trying to hook you. Like I'm
Right.
like, could you imagine where you're just trying to run and this thing's whole arm can just like blindly pat around the room you're in?
I like it being in the dark and you're not sure how big it is.
Yeah.
Because it's always, it like kind of looks normal at first, but then it starts to kind of like unfold and untuck.
Sure,
And you're like, oh
yeah.
my god, it's like fucking way long and skinny.
Yeah, man.
But it just looks like it's regular because it's so skinny
Sure.
it can fold up really nice.
And you're just constantly like, what the fuck is it?
yeah, exactly. And it's
can
always
do-
in the dark, shambling after you.
Oh yeah. Shrieking off in the fucking
Shrieking
dark.
every time. It's got to shriek.
And like, you could just have moments. I would, you know what?
Do you do it found footage?
No, hell no. I think it's so played out.
Yeah, I know. But it's so played out.
You could.
It's gonna
You
come
could
back
possibly
around.
do it. You know what? Even be better. Do a second twist in it where like you're trying. They're like, no, it's cool. We left it back on upstairs. Like it ain't getting out. And they're like, no, there's like 20 of them.
Yeah,
Like,
what are you talking
There's
about?
like 30 of those things all over the building.
Yeah. They're literally everywhere.
Why don't you guys? Why do you live here?
What are you doing here? It's like, hey, small price to pay for freedom.
Yo, what if it's like, well, no, we stayed here. This thing was. When you're here while they're prowling around, you smell like them, man. You can't leave with that shit on you. They'll follow. You could
Maybe.
you could do some fun shit.
We're doing, we're doing the rest of the world a favor because they need to stay here.
Yeah.
All we have to do is not go out at night. It's a easy price to pay.
I think you could do a very, very badass.
That
like,
would be cool as fuck.
urban. That just escalates.
What do you call it?
Oh man, teeth in the dark, bro.
Oh, shit!
Callback.
That's full circle, baby. That's how we do things around here at the scariest hour. Friends of the Paranormal.
But that's all we have for urban exploration. I have already picked out our next topic.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Hit me with
baby.
it, baby. Hit me with it now.
Tis the season, my friend. We're
That's
doing
right.
Evil Santas.
Ah,
And I do already have the movie picked out. Our buddy Eric actually has been suggesting it for quite a while. It has 2 titles, depending on where it was released. Dial Code Santa Claus, aka Deadly Games.
Oh, man.
So we will be enjoying all things festive, violent, and macabre.
None of these are gonna be good, man.
No, I will. Evil Santas has a Jaws. It has a great movie, but
there
we'll get
was
to it.
one. One of them has Goldberg as Evil Santa.
Yeah, that's what I'm watching.
Bill Goldberg. Damn. This
It's
one.
called Santa Slays. It's
Oh.
or it might be Santa's Sleigh. I always get it.
I
flipped
hope
around.
there's definitely one called Santa Claus.
Yeah, oh yeah,
for sure.
100%.
Who is like he's like a beast, like a werewolf man, probably.
Yeah. It's called The Santa Claus. It's a werewolf movie about being Santa.
Yeah, we already saw that. But instead of like E, it's like a WS. you know?
But yes, so please watch all of your favorite violent Santa Claus movies.
Get us at 'em.
Yeah, we'll be